Strangers from distant lands, friends of old. I'm Sterling, this is Exodium, and we are back. We're back with the Crucible, and we're going to see the players that have qualified for the World Grand Prix via the Contenders Cup go head-to-head in an all-inclusive format. I mean, we're going to be seeing Take 2, Rotation Unlimited. It's going to be a crazy day. Justin, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's been awesome. We've had a little bit of time, to ruminate in days past, of all the things that have happened. And, of course, the players have had their weeks to celebrate with their families and then finally come back around to getting their focus back on the World Grand Prix, right? All of these players are ready to go to Japan, try to win that $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we're going to put them through the ringer, right? They're going to go through Take 2, like you said, Unlimited Rotation. They're going to be playing one format each week. We've given them specific tasks to perform, right? So
right.
This is your Take 2 week, this is your Unlimited week, this is your Rotation week, and we're going to put them to the test to get them ready for the World Grand Prix.
That's right. So we have players on a Pan American team and players on the European team. So CRUMSION, POTWASHER, and SPRAYQUAZA are going to be on a team, and of course HISHIRO, MENSOU, and ESSIA are going to be a team as well. So we have a show today on the 17th and the 24th, all the Saturdays this month. This is an all-inclusive round robin. So today we're going to be seeing a Take 2 match, a Rotation match, and an Unlimited match. And if you win a match, your team gets a point. Simple as that.
That's right. And the players that we have playing today, of course, as we just went over, this is who they will be playing. CRUMSION against HISHIRO, POTWASHER versus MENSOU, and SPRAYQUAZA versus ESSIA. And of course, the reason we wanted to put this together, not just to get them prepared for the World Grand Prix in one way, also we wanted to put them in the spotlight, give them match points so that their team can win, give them something to play for so they take this seriously, and so they can basically be in the same type of a spot they would be at the World Grand Prix or in a live LAN event, in the hot seat.
That's right. Yeah, there is pricing. At the end of all of this, the winning team will take home one of these special figurines. We're going to get one for each of the players on the team. It's going to be
everybody
loves
loves that.
For.
Everybody loves that
yeah.
stuff. They're really hard to get. They're actually pretty expensive.
Oh,
I've looked these up myself. Yeah, we've actually given them a few away in tournaments over the years and stuff like that. They are super hard to come by.
Yeah, so this is not a normal open qualifier. This is not just one match. It's not even really a bracket. It's just round robin, good fun. And like you said, players have been given one specific task to accomplish this week. Just got to play one match of Take 2. Just got to play one match of Rotation or Unlimited. And they've had a lot of time to prep for that.
That's right. And hopefully, again, the end goal being let's get them ready for the World Grand Prix, because we want to do our part, right? We want to make sure that our boys, our guys that have qualified, they've spent all year practicing and doing different formats, mostly rotation, but we now need to gear them towards the formats that will be played in the World Grand Prix. They will include Take 2, Unlimited, and Rotation, so we want to make sure that we have them prepared.
That's right. So SEAO had a Contenders Cup themselves, so let's take a look at a highlight video to see what happened over there. Saw at the end of that video, Chaldea was the champion in the SAO region. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it to the Crucible with us because time zone.
Time zones. It's like what, 2 in the morning or something?
Right on 2 in the morning there right now. Yeah.
So
unfortunately, but we have his visage joining with us on the broadcast, so he will be joining us in spirit.
Yes, in spirit, absolutely. So yeah, unfortunate that he wasn't able to join us, but that does make our bracket a little easier, right? 3v3. type deal. So I'm excited to get into this. I want to see what our players have cooked up, right? So the formats have been changing, right? Take-Two got a little adjustment in the fact that Swordcraft isn't just the best class anymore, so now there's more of a range that people will be playing. Unlimited and Rotation got shaken up by Arthur adjustment, Dark Feast Bat adjustment.
Right,
there's a whole lot of cards that change. I mean, Gremory being a huge one, too, because now Shadow's like the best deck again everywhere.
Yeah, it still is really good, but it's a lot harder to pull off that Gremory combination because now it's enhanced 7, and you really it's harder to utilize the 2 drops when Arcus is active when you have to have the 7 play points for the enhance effect.
It's also harder just to set up a board early in the game to take over with Gremory because it's 7 instead of 6 now, so you got to do it a little bit later, a little bit easier to manage, things like that. So the card game world has been shaken up right now in terms of Shadowverse because of these adjustments, and I can't wait to not only see what these players are prepared today, but we're closing in on the mini expansion coming in soon too, where everything's gonna get mixed up again.
Yeah. So chat, we got a way that you can participate. We're having polls, so make sure in the chat you type !CRUMSION or !vote HISHIRO, and we'll show the results of those to see exactly who chat thinks is gonna win this Take-Two match, whether that's CRUMSION or HISHIRO. I don't know. Yeah,
that's
we'll
right.
see.
That's right. I mean, we have no idea. First of all, these players from Pan America and Europe have never played against each other, right? In a big match, right? Exactly. Maybe they've practiced with each other, things like that. And especially not in Take-Two, right? We have never seen something like this. As a matter of fact, I can't even remember last time we saw CRUMSION play Take-Two, or if we've even ever seen HISHIRO play Take-Two.
Yeah, it was the open qualifier. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess HISHIRO. Yeah, he didn't make it on broadcast for the Take-Two show in Europe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, well, we're definitely gonna see, and especially because the format has changed. Swordcraft's not the #1. What are these players even gonna be picking today? Is it still Swordcraft? Maybe it hasn't been adjusted enough. Who knows?
Yep. So we have interviews with the players coming up soon. So we're gonna have CRUMSION on the line here in a little bit, just getting him ready. So I mean, like, I'm really excited for Take-Two specifically because. I mean, yeah, things have changed. Like, I remember, like, the last broadcast we did for Take-Two, we were really surprised by Abyss Summoner just showing up in RuneCraft and being so strong. And RuneCraft still is really strong.
It is.
But I think, they probably changed it a little bit. It's a lot harder to get. You're not going to get 3 Abyss Summoners.
3 Abyss Summoners, yeah. It was funny, too, because at the time it was like, what's good here? Swordcraft, Dragon, Shadow, Blood, all these things are decent and, like, definitely higher picks. RuneCraft was never picked in Take-Two, competitively or even otherwise, right? You go play Take-Two in the game client, and you're like, nobody's ever picked RuneCraft. People don't do this. And then all of a sudden, all of the professional players are like, RuneCraft.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what's going on here? So I felt like it might have been something like Sword now, but because of the adjustments, maybe we're going to see something that we haven't seen before. Maybe Haven's the best new thing. Maybe Blood's the best new thing. I really just don't know.
I don't know. Bloodcraft's always been so dicey, and I don't think there's really been like that much change. If anything, Bloodcraft's probably just gotten worse in Take-Two.
Sure. Yeah, it's just about options, right? It's about what the players have decided, the bronze cards that they want to play with more often than not. Yeah. And if there are, silver or gold cards that do kind of take the game over the edge, if they do get lucky or they can build around them type of deal. I mean, a lot of it now I feel like is player preference. What cards do they want to play with? What cards do they think give them an edge against the other classes in the format?
Yeah, and if you maybe get the Moon and Sun or the Luane as well, like both of those really strong cards.
Of course.
But when you have those options available to you, it doesn't really leave a whole lot of space to actually play the other cards in your deck if you're playing like a 2-cost or a 3-cost 2/2.
I think a lack of options because your options are so good is a perfectly fine thing. I think if you have one of the better cards, you're just fine. There's a lot of cards like that, right? I mean, there's going to be cards in every class that players want to play for. Dragon has been especially known for that in the past, and even recently, where they just have really big name cards. You know what I mean? That just come to the board. You can't really beat them, and then they kind of just
a lot of times in Take-Two, just having the bigger follower, like with the right timing on your turn, like sometimes that just seals the match right then and there.
Absolutely, or even repeated value. You know what I mean? Like, turns out there are certain cards in Dragon that produce 5/5 dragons every turn, and they're really hard to beat, and things like that. So
Canyon of Dragons. I don't want to. Can we talk about something else?
Right, but of course there are cards like that in every class that if you get them, they feel really good. But like I said, it's really about those bronze cards. The consistency in Take-Two is what it's all about, and what you can kind of pick up. That's kind of why Abyss Summoner was really good. I know it is a silver card, but like you said, it was showing up in higher quantities or higher values in that particular set of Take-Two rounds. I don't know if it's happening anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we'll see, but we have got CRUMSION on the line for you. CRUMSION, my man, what is up? It's been a while since the Contenders Cup. How you doing?
It has been a while. I'm doing good. I've been playing all 3 formats, and it's fun so far.
Well, good. Have you had time since the Contenders Cup to celebrate with your family? What have you kind of been doing to relax since then, or have you even had a chance to relax? You've been just jumping into Shadowverse.
No real time to relax actually, because I had to miss like a week and almost like a week and a half to go there. So I'm a university student, so I had to catch up in classes. I missed a lot of classes. So right now, a lot of time I've been focusing on mainly just schoolwork and just catching up.
So how has it been like being a university student, having like a huge amount of commitment in your personal life, but also like being like one of the top Shadowverse players in the world? How has it been like kind of balancing that professional and in private life?
Well, it's definitely hard, but it's doable. As if you work hard, you don't slack off, then of course you can do it. And Shadowverse, luckily, I can kind of consider it for me like a part-time job. So the amount of time that goes into that, I could be working some other boring jobs. So I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing now. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Some
That's
other
great.
boring jobs. So talk to us a little bit about Take-Two. Since the adjustment, Swordcraft has kind of been neutered a little bit. How do you feel Take-Two is in general right now? Do you think it's healthy? And also, what kind of prep work did you do? What classes do you like right now?
So I would say Take-Two right now, the 4 strongest classes are Sword, Forest, Shadow, and Portal. I think those are the top 4. If I get like Dragon, Rune, Blood, then I'll be a Haven, and only one of those, I'll be like a little upset, but it's okay. I definitely think those are the dominant 4. In terms of Take-Two, I don't think Take-Two is one of my strongest modes right now. I definitely still prefer rotation stuff, so I'm not 100% confident on this mode, but I've done some practice, so I think I'm ready for today.
Gotcha. Well, you'll have some time to play rotation in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But how are you feeling about this matchup? Have you ever played against HISHIRO before? Let me just start by asking that. So you've never played against HISHIRO. I mean, how are you? I mean, from what you've seen of him in the Contenders Cup, how are you feeling about this match?
I don't know much about his like individual performance, but yeah, I've never really played against him. I actually, not gonna lie, he was kind of popped up on my radar after the last regional finals of SVO, so it hasn't even been that long since I've known too much about him, because he's actually a newer face. So I don't know what to expect, but no matter who I play, I'm pretty confident, regardless of what region, so yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, HISHIRO's had that effect on all of us. Like,
Yeah,
he's just kind of,
it came out of nowhere and just started beating everybody up.
So CRUMSION, best of luck in your match,
Yes,
and we'll let you focus in.
That's right.
All right,
So,
thank you.
yeah, no problem. So, I mean, good stuff, right? Like CRUMSION's a good guy, and now we know that he hasn't had any time to relax. It's just schoolwork, Shadowverse, not a boring job. Shadowverse.
He's got the cool job.
He's got the cool
He's got
job.
the job all the kids are jealous
Yeah,
of.
that's right. I love that. Some boring job. I remember when I was his age. I'm such an old man now, right? I remember when I was his age. Yeah, back when I was a youngin'. I definitely worked a lot of boring jobs myself. There wasn't esports around when I was younger, at least in the capacity that is now. So I didn't have the chance to do these cool jobs.
Yeah,
but we're all here now, right?
We're all here now.
The
We're all
world's
having
changing.
fun. We're
Yeah.
all everybody is in the esports world.
Yeah,
now.
it's great. Get in here, everyone. Okay, and if you're not in here, then watch.
Oh,
it
they're
happen.
here, man. They're watching.
Yeah, they're
man.
here with us.
They're here with us,
Yeah,
observing with us.
Yeah.
We are merely the guides.
Yeah, exactly.
The only
The
difference
Sherpas.
between us and them is that we have a microphone
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
talent. That's
All right, let's get into our next interview. HISHIRO, my friend, how have you been? We haven't seen you in a little while. What's it been like since the Contenders Cup?
Hello. It's been I've been very happy to meet with all my friends and family once I was back in France. And also the team was so impressed that both MENSOU and I were qualified for World Grand Prix. So yeah, things are doing great. My holidays are finished, so I'm back to school.
Ah, more school.
Gotcha. So I mean, like, give us some insight. Like, how have you been? How have like these past couple weeks since the Contenders Cup been for you? Have they been really quiet, or are you just like completely focused in like getting ready for the World Grand Prix?
There was also a bit rejoicing about the qualification, of course. But then, yeah, we switched to planning a training to make sure we have a chance at the World Grand Prix. Since I have schoolwork too, I can get myself doing only Shadowverse. So I try to get a mix with that.
Perfect, perfect. Well, you are going into Take 2 this week. Have you had a lot of experience with Take 2? Has it been kind of a struggle this week leading up to it just to try to practice for it, or do you feel very comfortable? Do you have a good idea of what you need to be doing?
I was playing a lot of Tech 2 when I was starting the game, just to get VRs and goals for cards. Recently, yeah, I had to learn it again, how to play effectively in Tech 2. And I feel more and more confident about what I should do. It's more about learning a play style that is very unique to Tech 2. And I'm starting to get a grasp of it. So I hope I have a great game with CRUMSION. I'm really happy to play against him since he's one of my favorite players from the PAM side.
Yeah, CRUMSION definitely is like one of the more premier players in the Pan American region. Do you have any words for CRUMSION? I mean, this is kind of the first time y'all really faced off or played at all. I'm assuming from the interview we had with CRUMSION. How are you feeling about that matchup?
Yeah, it's the first time I played against him. But yeah, good luck and have fun, guy.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, HISHIRO, for being here this week. We look forward to watching your game, and good luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, yeah. HISHIRO, what a great guy, right? CRUMSION and HISHIRO, these are like the good guys, right? These are like the guys that are always got a smile on their face. They're always happy to play. They're both students, you know, splitting their time between schoolwork and Shadowverse, and it feels like, I mean, you know, between Europe and Pan America, these guys are pretty similar.
Man, that's got to be difficult. Like, I remember university. I didn't have time to play video games while I was in college, and these guys, like, they treat it like a job. Like, no, this is my this is what brings home the bacon. This is what brings home the butter.
My mom was like, "You're playing video games while you're at school? Go get a job. You're helping me pay for this. Come on."
Exactly. So yeah, hats off to them.
Yeah,
they're
making money. They're doing it. Yeah,
yeah,
they're actually doing it, which is great. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, I mean, yeah, don't forget to vote, ! Vote CRUMSION or HISHIRO for who you think is going to win. We're going to show the poll sometime in between the match so we can kind of get a sense for how the audience is feeling about these matches.
That's right. And I kind of want to gauge the fact that I think people know CRUMSION a little bit more by now, so maybe the vote will be a little skewed.
I don't know. I feel like
HISHIRO though, man, like, so I just kind of want to highlight HISHIRO for a little bit, right? So, like, just like CRUMSION said, he's a newer player to the scene. He just broke out into, you know, the last season essentially of the year, but he's just been winning. And he plays so differently than everyone else.
And he's beaten out most of the top competitors in the European region. Almost
all of them. Yeah. Him and MENSOU too. Like, MENSOU came into the scene, you know, they're friends. They practice a lot. They're both Frenchmen. You know, even ESSIA is, even from a different team. But they kind of came onto the scene. They just started taking over everything. But we're going to get into this draft here. And let's see what we start with. So Swordcraft, this is what CRUMSION said he definitely wanted to get into. So we're going to see what he gets here. Arthur seems interesting in Take 2.
Arthur and Gilnelise, I feel like that is just...
He did not go with those picks, though. Went with some more consistency.
Oh, you're right, he did, yeah.
Okay. Doesn't want the late game Swordcraft, wants the early game Swordcraft. Okay, very interesting here. All right, so it looks like he's got a choice between 2 solid 2 and 3 drops here to play on Curve.
Charlotta's great. I mean, just having cards that do things in Take 2. It's like having Ward, having Rush, all of those are so much more valuable, I feel like, than they are in Rotation or Unlimited. It's
more just like, do you want the age-worn weaponry just in your deck? That's like one of those top decks you're like, it doesn't really do anything later in the game.
Disciple of Usurpation having Ambush, of course, is a great effect as well, and also another way to get loot cards in your hand.
Absolutely. I love that pick there. Removal and a card that can keep putting followers into play.
Getting the Wayne, I like it. Homebound Mercenary is really good, too. I mean, it has the healing and an enhance effect as well.
Plus you get the 2 and the 3 drops. So Swordcraft, the way that CRUMSION, it looks like he's building it, is just he wants a consistently good aggro deck. So I think we're going to see him take a lot of cards that are just on curve very good.
Tanya's great. Get that ambush.
Yeah, Tanya's great. I kind of like the left side pick too. White General, Frontline Ramparts are really good 4 drops to have on the play. Looks like he's going to go with that option.
Definitely a little slower with the Frontline Ramparts, but still great. Another Lil Wayne, really, really great.
That's like the new Kai'Sa, right? So Kai'Sa was the premier pick way back when, but they made him bronze and still neutral, so still very good to pick up. Cards that generate extra cards are always good in a format where you don't really know what you're going to end up with.
Yeah. Craving Splendor is another really great, solid removal spell along with Divine Retribution.
Yeah. Seems good to me.
Weathered Vanguard, another card that was adjusted. It no longer summons Steelclad Knights, but it summons
still good.
Still great.
You still get to fill up a board in some ways, so still a good pickup. Definitely not as devastating as it used to be. Of course, we know about this Angel, right? 5 play point 4/4. Basically nuke anything on the board if you have an Evo point, and because there are a lot of neutral cards in Take 2 anyway, just a solid card. It has the nice sweet effect, Clash, deal 4 damage to an enemy neutral follower. Very good stuff.
Very, very strong card. Another Usurping Spine Blade.
Pick those
the
all
Holy
up.
Baron Knight's pretty good.
Ooh, I like it. And a Dragon Knights to finish things off. Very good stuff. Look at that. World Circuit Champion Flare. That's a pretty boss Flare.
There's not many people in the world that have that Flare.
I think there are 3.
There's 3. Wow.
Yeah. 3 people have that Flare.
Way to go, man.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Good stuff. That's
good
really good stuff. So, CRUMSION, in case you didn't know who he was, right? He's the guy that's basically been leading the force in Pan America all year. He's the guy that had the leading points, so he was going to qualify through that anyway. He also won the last World Circuit event, just beating out a tough field of some of the best players, you know, we've seen in a single room together. Just an all-around phenomenal player, and good attitude to go with it, and definitely one of the favorites this year going into the World Grand Prix.
Absolutely, and CRUMSION got 2nd place in the Take 2 Open qualifier of this
true.
season. I believe he lost to Cure Mango, if my memory serves.
That might be right. Yeah,
I'm sure,
actually, yeah, Cure Mango. I remember Cure Mango was on a tear for a little while.
Oh, yeah,
he's
he
one of
was.
those players that was kind of sad that didn't make it all the way through, but. Sun Harbor on that. Going into this match here, we've got CRUMSION again versus HISHIRO, Tempo Storm versus Team Revelation, Pan America versus France.
This is it. This is it. Okay, CRUMSION taking the mulligan. He's keeping the Servant of Usurpation. That's great. He gets a Spine Blade. Really great. But HISHIRO, I mean, comes into the lane, has a Fairy Whisper. So both of these players have really solid mulligans, I think.
Yeah, I like this. So Forestcraft in Take 2. Has always really been about kind of the same thing it is in rotation, right? It's a lot of fairy generation. It's a lot of early, just like what Swordcraft tries to do. It tries to present an early curve, try to fill up the board, and it tries to basically own the board. And Swordcraft tries to do the same thing. So it's really just about who can take over the board, who has followers left over, and who can push those damage points in after they've traded away the early game.
Right, and specifically, I feel like the Servant of Usurpation is so strong here.
Insane.
Into the 1/1. Of course, HISHIRO does have Sylvan
Yeah,
Justice.
the answer.
The perfect answer. But you know, CRUMSION doesn't
If
have
that
until
Sylvan
now.
Justice didn't exist, the game might have already been over.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding about how strong Servant of Usurpation is.
Very strong.
It's so good, especially against a deck like Forestcraft where it runs off of 1/1s, and basically 1/1s can't touch the Servant of Usurpation.
Oh yeah, puppets can't touch it, fairies can't touch it.
It's good stuff. I really like it. So HISHIRO having the perfect answer for that. CRUMSION can't be too happy, but of course, you know, such is life. That's what you got to deal with. Your opponent's going to take good cards.
Such is life. Valkyrie of Chaos gets ward. Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
So without another Sylvan Justice or anything like that, we'll have to use up the board on this. Interesting. Omen in the hand now for HISHIRO, so definitely an endgame in sight. In Take 2, that card seems pretty decent.
Not bad at all, especially that the servant of or the disciple of Unkilling.
Yeah.
Allows the board to trade into the Valkyrie for free. Wow, that was really nice.
Pretty good. You guys were like, man, these Unkilling cards, what do? Take 2, All Stars.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Pressure on board. Gets to trade into this ward. CRUMSION now on the back foot. When you're going second against a deck that's trying to do the same thing as you, and they're like we were talking about just at the beginning of this match, able to keep the board, it gets really hard.
Right. Now, the Disciple of Usurpation here is a really great choice. You can evolve it and attack and get a loot card in your hand, which is really nice. And you still have that play point left over to use a loot card. To use the loot card, and you'll get the extra defense. Okay, has a goblet. Nice. That's really good.
That's insane.
That's insane.
That's insane. So now the Disciple goes all the way back up to 4 defense. Very hard to deal with unless you want to use an Evo point on it. So very good stuff. Now you can't just trade one of these 1/1s in. And I like the generation HISHIRO has. He's got plenty of things to get fairies onto the board. Now he just needs to find something to kind of push it over the edge. And maybe he can stall out. I mean, maybe his plan is now, with the cards that he has in his hand, just to stall out until turn 10 and then just win with the Omen.
He has a Hornet Soldier just to use that Evo point on to take out the Fallen, which is nice. And now HISHIRO is really the one dictating the pace of this game.
It's true.
He's pushing for damage. He has a big follower. CRUMSION has a Spine Blade, so he has a way to answer to get a nice free trade on the Soldier.
Look at the cards in CRUMSION's hand right now. He is behind in tempo, but the value of the cards in his hand is so high. 2 Spine Blades. He's got a Dragon Knights in there. He's got a Celia. It's almost looking like rotation built.
Yeah, pretty much. Doesn't want to use the Celia, I feel like, on this turn, just because it's not going to trade too well into the Horn Soldier. But Nice, gets a necklace. Okay, that's nice.
Yep, so just setting up for next turn. It feels like something...
Ooh, and a blade to clear up this board entirely.
Very good. Very
nice.
good. I think that's what he was hoping for. But yeah, this is probably to set up for something like a Celia next turn. He's probably going to hold on to the Dragon Knights until 8 play points just so he can get the most use out of it.
Yep. He also has the Iron Fist Beast Warrior as well, a card that we haven't seen at all in the Shadowverse Open.
Just say that card's name slowly.
Iron Fist Beast Warrior.
Dude is a crazy. You know
Look
what I'm saying?
Look at his right arm, man.
He's a monster, okay? And he does a lot of things, right? So basically, anytime you can play a card and take 2 that generates another card, it's just good. The Spine Blades are good. The Lane, like we were talking about, the Fairy Whispers and the Fairy Circles on the side of HISHIRO here. Basically, these are the cards you want to start with. These are the cards that are going to allow you some playability going into the later games of Take 2, just so you have something to do.
Yep.
If you don't have anything that replaces itself, then you're just going to be playing to the board, and if it gets swept away, you have nothing left. You have no backup.
CRUMSION can throw down the Beast Warrior itself right now. I feel like that's pretty good.
Beast Warrior is okay here. I think Celia is also a fine option here, just so you can fill up the board a little bit more. Maybe he's just trying to play board protect like we were talking about. But yeah, the Iron Fist Beast Warrior is also really good here.
There's also a consideration to be made for Battlefield Beauty. Honestly, Clash deal 1 damage to a random enemy follower.
Yeah.
It's 50. I mean, well, a pretty good chance it'll land on one of the fairies. You'll get a nice 2 for 1.
Not bad.
And you could still put a golden necklace or a gilded necklace on it. It's going to be the beauty. Okay.
That's the choice.
Wow.
All right, so a card that we don't get to see in rotation very much.
Maybe the pink goes on the... Okay, no.
Oh,
Did go
very
on the
nice.
white. Pretty good.
Very nice.
2 out of 3 chance there.
Does he necklace?
I don't think you do. I mean, HISHIRO still has an Evo or whatever. You have to think that your opponent has something that can just Evo and trade into it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think so. I don't think until that last Evo point is gone, CRUMSION's going to use that necklace, and it just makes sense. You want to stick that last big follower after the Evo points are gone.
Right, and now HISHIRO has a Storied Falconer. He can Evo, get some Bane, and now if CRUMSION might have just wasted the Gilded Necklace, so big choice there.
Yeah, both of these decks have really good card quality in them. I really like this. I do see an endgame for CRUMSION. I feel like it's a little bit more powerful. I mean, just the cards in his hand. He's got both of his legendaries. He's got his gold card. You know, he's got some good stuff going on. HISHIRO, also good cards, though. Has his Omen, has a Storied Falconer now to break through. I think you want to save that for the last Evo again for CRUMSION and maybe use something different this turn. But I don't know if he has that much flexibility.
It really seems that way because the Zudia is great, the element of unkilling, but you're essentially wasting a turn just to bring your opponent's life total to 6. And it doesn't have ward, it doesn't have rush, it's not affecting the
board
board
But it is
anyway.
a 6/6.
It is a 6/6,
and
sure.
you're putting your opponent to 6.
But if your opponent, I mean, if CRUMSION has already played the Dragon Knights and, you know, whatever else is in his deck, it could just be too little too late.
Sure. All right, so it looks like HISHIRO will use his last Evo point to take care of CRUMSION's follower again with that Disciple of Unkilling, so that not a lot of damage is taken back on the evolved follower. That's really nice.
I feel like now you kind of have to Celia just to get some follower that can evolve and trade into the Disciple. And have a ward as well, maybe buff up the ward.
Feels good. That will lead into a nice Dragon Knight's turn as well.
Yeah, there's, aside from the Disciple on HISHIRO's side, nothing can trade into a 2/2 ward. CRUMSION decides to use the Gilded Necklace on the board.
True. And I think this would be a good opportunity too. The Evo points are gone. You don't want this to be an easy trade.
Yeah, the Storied Falconer can just take off the Heavy Knight there.
Yeah, he might buff the 4/1 though, for the same reasons. Just make it harder to deal with.
Right.
But
if he buffs a 4/1, and then now HISHIRO can.
He can Raptor.
He can Raptor.
That's true. But I like this mainly. Oh wow. Okay. Well, Leaf Man changes everything about this turn. But without Leaf Man, I think what CRUMSION was trying to do is basically just say, you're getting no damage in, you're using all of your followers to clear my board. I'm cool with this.
He still has a Bro family too. He played Lil Wayne, so he has the 2 damage Storm.
Still the best name in Shadowverse.
The Bro family. That's great.
A piece
is that their actual
That's their
name?
surname.
That's their surname.
Yeah. I am Lil Wayne of the Bro family.
Mr. Bro family.
That's right.
That's great.
Okay, so it looks like possibly not Leaf Man. Maybe he just, it doesn't matter for the first follower. No, he's not going to play it this turn. Just wants to set up a bigger board, possibly to get a full board.
Nice. Gets the pyramid attack in his hand while establishing a wide board for next turn.
I like that.
That's
so giving
really
himself
good.
options. Maybe I want the 9-drop ward next turn. Maybe I want the full board pump with my Leaf Man. I really like it. And this is getting down where we were talking about, folks. One person has the board, the other person does not.
One person has a board, one person has Dragon Knights.
Yeah,
this turn.
that's true. Has Dragon Knights. Is Dragon Knights enough, though? Dragon Knights is really good.
Dragon Knights is super good.
So Dragon Knights, for those folks who haven't played against it or don't know about it, new to the game, that kind of thing, it's a card that allows you to pick between 4 different followers depending on the situation that you're in. When you play it for 8 play points, you get to pick 2 of them and put them directly into play. We've got Rush, we've got Ward, we've got Bane, we've got Storm, we've got a whole lot of different things you can choose from depending. I think this one's looking like a Rush Bane if he's going to play it, though.
We got cards. Yeah, there's cards that
Or
buff
Ward.
themselves, cards that heal. It's the sheer amount of options available to you with that card is why it's been such a mainstay.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So let's see what he decides to choose here.
Probably Siegfried and Percival, honestly.
I
Just
think
get
I
some
like it.
ward, get some rush, affect the board.
Ooh, thinking about it. This is a tough choice.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. Man, Vayne is so good too.
Vayne's really good post Evos. Like if you get Vayne Lancelot, you essentially still get to knock out one of your opponent's followers, and then you get a follower that basically just plays to the board very well.
And with a board this small, Vayne is going to be really hard to deal with. I mean, the pyramid attack can deal with that, but
That's true. If we think about the pyramid attack, maybe we need to get the ward with it, but no, he is going to go with the Lancelot. All right, so this is going to open up the options for HISHIRO here. He can play pyramid attack, possibly buff his entire team. If you guys haven't played with pyramid attack lately, it has a few different things that can happen when you play it. It can heal and it can buff your entire team.
but it picks one of them randomly.
Yes, randomly. It's always fun.
It's always just a little guessing game.
Okay, so it looks like that won't be the choice. Another Rush follower. This will also deal.
We haven't seen the bear.
Oh,
either.
wow. Look
Oh,
at this. Rush and Rush Bane clear the entire board, have the same options yet again.
For next turn.
This is just really good stuff. I was saying how CRUMSION had really good card quality. HISHIRO's been drawing into some really, really good cards.
He has, yeah.
And he now has a board set up to actually just OTK next turn with the Omen in hand.
Yeah.
Yep. So CRUMSION's going to have to take care of this 6-3 immediately, which he will.
Oh, nice. Okay, so he has Rush with the Iron Fist Beast Warrior. That's really, really good pickup.
Ooh, okay, and a free
okay,
follower.
Nice.
Might actually rush that because it's a little better. It'll heal
heals.
itself.
Yeah, that's true.
I must return back to my
Gets to
homeland.
maintain full stats. Not bad. Okay. Still, though, I mean, HISHIRO's got Zudi. I feel like just throwing down that. And
I think that feels pretty good. When
rushing
you're at
face,
20,
yeah.
when you're at 20, and you have a Leaf Man still in hand, and now a Yggdrasil.
Oh, wow.
Jeez,
Oh,
man.
Give us a break.
Jeez, you see the smile on HISHIRO's face too. I feel like this is almost becoming his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Every time we see him on broadcast, we're like, man, he's playing really well. Things are going well. And then he draws like a card from his deck, and he just like goes over the moon. He's just like,
nuts.
oh, yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe it. You
Oh
can't
my
believe
gosh.
it. This is amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this is going to be really rough. I think CRUMSION is getting ready for the knockout punch here. Or
CRUMSION
getting
can't-
ready to be knocked out,
Yeah,
rather.
you can't trade into the whole board. The Savage Swordsman gets rushed when you enhance it for 8. And then, you just trade the Mercenary and the Beast Warrior into the rest of the board. Oh, but still, there's the Raptor.
There's the Raptor,
Plus
there's
the
the
Leaf
Leaf
Man.
Man, there's the
Oh,
Pyramid
man.
Attack, there's the Yggdrasil.
Oh, yeah, that's too much.
So
It's
Pyramid
too
Attack
much.
is when bro families, what's the word I'm looking for? Attack together?
Combo attack.
Combo attack. I mean, that's technically what it is,
yeah,
right?
it's basically it's like a massive
pyramid
combo.
attack. Yeah, I like it. When the bro family circles you, you better get out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. All right, so CRUMSION will clear the board. Man, just all the options here. Now even just another option to win the game with.
Owlbear, yeah, just a follower with ambush.
Yeah, just a big
my
follower
gosh.
that you can't do anything about. So let's see what path that HISHIRO decides to take here, but I think we all know what's going on. I think the writing is on the wall for the first game. So let's talk a little bit more. We told you that Take 2 was going to be the format. How they're going to be playing it is best 2 out of 3, and they have to redraft every single time.
Yep, that's
so
true.
this will be the deck for the first game, and then we'll move on to another draft for the next game. Yep, this seems like a really good idea to do too. You put to the board. All right, so CRUMSION again just doing everything he can, trying to clear this board. He can clear off 3 of the followers. It looks like. No, he can clear off 4 of the followers, so he can clear board here. So staying alive for yet another turn.
Yeah, staying alive.
What a relief.
Stand back. Tommy's going in.
Okay, and see here. Yeah, there's no way to keep Mercenary alive.
Unfortunately. Oh my gosh.
4-5 will be staying alive. And again, CRUMSION's doing a good, like, it took him until turn, 11, 12
right.
to finally get back to the board and have some presence here. But I think
Yggdrasil in hand, HISHIRO feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah. So let's hope this connection issue is not going to spoil. Okay,
he was
there
plagued
we go.
by connection issues for a little bit there.
Yeah,
in
he was.
the regional finals.
But here we go. I believe Yggdrasil by itself.
Yeah, now that it's 6 cost, enhanced 4 on the Wrath of Nature.
Pretty good, yeah. Yggdrasil being adjusted to 6 cost. We're not going to see Yggdrasil just in Take 2 anymore. Yggdrasil has made its way into rotation. It's made its way into Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a solid option now because it is now at the right place on the curve for that card to be good. And here we go. HISHIRO going to pick up the first game against CRUMSION. These guys, MENSOU and HISHIRO, I'm telling you, okay?
Nuts, man.
Nuts. They are great players. They are, somewhat unknown. Well, now not a little, not as much unknown. They're now qualified for the World Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, just take a look at these guys, right? Just soak it in. HISHIRO, great
They
player.
play good, man. Yeah, and HISHIRO and MENSOU, we're gonna be seeing MENSOU later on in the day. But the two of them, like at the Contenders Cup, they showed up and they were already friends. They already knew each other.
Yeah.
They were both on Revelation, and like it was just like the French camaraderie that they brought with them, and they just like stuck together and just talked about their decks almost endlessly.
Yeah,
I felt like, it was great.
It was kind of like the French version of POTWASHER and CRUMSION.
Yeah, a little bit.
They were doing all of their analytics and statistics and all that kind of stuff, and they were building their matchups and all that kind of thing, and then just doing it really well. All right, so Portal Craft.
Pick Mirabane, CRUMSION, come on.
No. Pick Lashetta. Come on. Come on. So many things. Okay, so it was Mirabane.
Yeah.
All right, so now
Wow.
CRUMSION has to try to not pick a duplicate.
You can, it can be impossible. I've tried it before.
It can be.
It can be impossible. Sometimes you get forced to pick 2 of the same card, but it can still be effective.
It can still be effective if you manage to draw the right cards early in the game, because it's only about the cards that are left in your deck. So as long as you draw your duplicates, you can still play
So the
Mirabane.
difficult thing here is different cards have different percentage values of whether or not they're going to show up twice or 3 times in a draft. And depending on how much prep work CRUMSION has done, like he might know those numbers fairly well, or might know those chances fairly well.
That's true. Plus, if you get duplicates, maybe it's better if they're earlier in the curve, just because you'll keep them in your hand and play them early.
Right.
So we'll see here. He's been going pretty fast, so I'm not sure if we've even hit a duplicate yet.
Sometimes you just got to pick the best card.
Yeah. Sometimes you just pick the good ones. Gobblemount Ogre, very good. Craving Splendor, very good.
So is Shining Bellringer Angel. Man.
Yeah, a lot of card draw either way. All right.
And Kidu, I feel like, is really.
Yeah, and Kidu has been an all-star we've seen. But yeah, Wind Up really good. Automaton Knight really good as well. Just really good early game play. Already has a lot of 3 drops.
Has a lot of 3 drops.
Already has a lot of 5 drops too, considering. And this is 2 more 5 drops in the same pick. And he is going to go with them. Okay. All right, so just building it up. I think Enkidu's one of those cards you just take.
Yeah.
You get a hark back to the old Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is amazing. Basilius, really good. Colossal Construct. Okay.
Scathach is...
I like
not
Scathach
bad.
in Take 2.
Pretty good, yeah.
I like Goblin Fighter in Take 2 as well. Again, it's just a card that replaces itself. Scathach is just an options card. You got a big 6 play point 4/4 or a pump effect, essentially.
Yeah, when Goblin Fighter gives you that Goblin Leader,
oh boy. That's right.
Probably Axe Wielder,
It's good, but I don't know if there's a lot of amulets you care about anymore.
maybe in Dragoncraft you want to get rid of Canyon of the Dragons,
but-
maybe, but
Yeah,
when is that going to happen?
It's not like in the old days where you need to be killing amulets left and right.
Dude, the Electromagical Rhino.
That's not happening.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Electromagical Rhino could be an insane card in Take 2 if Take 2 would take like 20 turns.
Yeah.
then it would just take over the game, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of cards that might do that.
Yeah, a lot of cards can kind of just like break that cycle. Azudia, it's like, no, you're done.
Yeah.
Game's over.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I think Electromagical Rhino is one of those cards that, I mean, I thought the idea of it was fantastic, right? I know you've played the deck and it's fun and all that kind of stuff. And when it gets rolling, it's pretty sweet.
Let me rephrase that. By great, I mean it's really fun.
It's really fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. In Take 2, it's a little bit harder to even get rolling in the first place because you're not building up other artifacts in your deck. You don't have any consistent way to draw it. You're not playing a consistent curve that can allow you to get to the end game so you can play it. So it's really hard to pull off in Take 2.
Like a lot of other cards, of course, in Take 2, it's like, do you draw the card or do you not? With Electromagical Rhino, you have to draw the card, and then you have to draw the cards that it puts in your deck and get that train going as fast as possible. Very, very difficult. But going into Game 2...
Oh, a Majerabane mirror!
No way.
Wow! Wow, not keeping it in his opening hand, though, so that means maybe he wants a little bit more consistency, or maybe he does have duplicates that he needs to try to draw out first. But HISHIRO did get Forestcraft again and did pick it again, so very well practiced in Forestcraft, it seems. Likes it, has a lot of the same options as we see. Sylvan Justice in hand, even an extra removal spell on Pitfall.
The Disciple as well. Yeah,
it's feeling like, you know what? This deck plays to the board really well. These Unkilling cards, pretty spectacular
really
in
strong
Take 2.
in Take 2, yeah.
Yeah, really good stuff. I like this. So CRUMSION's hand looking like the start of an old Portalcraft hand, right? You got the Hamlin into Automaton Knight, or the Knower. Knower, of course, putting Prime Artifact into your deck, a win condition all by itself.
Bronze win condition, man.
Yeah, bronze win conditions are good. So what that card does, 2 play point 2/2, you put a Prime Artifact into your deck. If you evolve it, you get to basically tutor for it. So, pretty nice.
Pretty strong.
Yeah.
Remember when we saw in the Contenders Cup, we saw Octress steal the last word effect of Prime Artifact?
Oh, so good.
Dude.
Didn't win the game.
I wasn't casting. I was on the party. I was watching.
But it was super cool.
People blew up in that audience.
Yeah, like, oh my god, we didn't even think about this.
Nuts.
Oh, good things. Good things happening in Shadowverse. All right, so a lot of options here. A lot of options.
Yeah, wow.
The Servant's kind of a risky play when you're going in Take 2, just in general, and especially copying it because you have to destroy another follower to get its effect of dealing 3 damage to a random enemy follower.
You don't want to do that
I do like the option. Not every time, but like when you get puppets out, maybe you can play a puppet and then destroy a bigger follower with it, so not a bad option to have. But I like going for extra puppets here, especially against Forestcraft. You want to be able to kill as many 1/1s as you can.
Sylvan Justice, not bad on the Hamlin, can play that. Play the Fairy along with it.
The march goes on.
Start pushing for damage.
I like this. I mean, if he stays on the same roll like he did last game, it's a very similar type of game. The only difference is CRUMSION now has puppets to work with, so even though he's going second, he has more ways to catch up. Then puppets are 0-cost 1/1 rush followers that come out of certain cards like the Automaton Knights in his hand right now so that he can play back to the board even without Evo points.
Plays the Automaton Knight instead of the Curse statue. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the ward that the statue has.
I think he needs to get puppets going. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
he's going second again against a deck that he knows is just trying to play to the board, so needs some type of control here. I mean, I love the Disciple here.
The Disciple here is amazing.
Trade. It's just so good.
It's good on the play. It's good on the draw.
Yeah. We saw him use it twice. Yeah, I don't really see another play here. Maybe the other thought is he goes Fairy Circle so that he can Leaf Man next turn. But that's kind of a rough proposition because a lot of trading is going to happen on the side of CRUMSION. His Evo points open up next turn. He can trade the Automaton Knight in and get another puppet, or get a puppet rather.
Did you happen to see the choice of classes that CRUMSION had? He picked Portalcraft really fast.
He picked everything very fast.
He just kind of knew right
yeah,
off the top
yeah.
of his head.
And I think that's kind of how it gets with Take 2 with a lot of these players after a lot of practice. They just know their stride. They know what decks they like to play with. They have their preferences. Not only that, once they get into that deck choice, they know exactly what type of curve they want to build with that deck, and they just hop right to it. So I think that's a good thing. When players are picking quick, they know what's going on.
So we have the results of the Twitter poll. Let's throw that up on screen to see exactly who thought. Okay, 62% for CRUMSION, not bad.
About what I expected. About 1/3 of our pollies out there, you know, going for HISHIRO. I really like it.
Not bad.
Underdog
win,
story.
Yeah.
Turns out he's already up a game.
He is already up 1-0.
We did lock the votes before the game started,
Yeah.
and you know we couldn't be tampering with the votes.
Nah, can't be. Those votes are precious, man.
That's right. That's right. But I like that a lot of you are behind HISHIRO here. It's good stuff. Yeah.
That's a good number.
right, so looks like HISHIRO did make the play to clear the board. Makes a lot of sense to me.
And now first Evo point for CRUMSION. He has a puppet along with a couple other things. Nowhere of History.
Nowhere's a little slow here.
Yeah.
Again, needs to speed up a little bit. What multiple things can he do in this turn? Not a lot is the problem. Maybe if he gets a Goblin off of his other Goblin. Or the 2/2 drops. This works. Yeah, I probably would have played this one first just to see what you got, because it's technically like a card draw spell.
Right, yeah.
But this is fine. He definitely wants to Evo this Nowhere so that he can get the Prime Artifact into his hand.
I think you want to play the puppet, yeah, take out the fairy. Because you played the Goblin Fighter.
And you have a 4/1.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely good stuff here. So now it's HISHIRO that's on the back foot. Let's see how he decides to come back to this board. Of course, he has Pitfall. Pitfall can get him back into this pretty easily. So can Disciple. You get the Evo and just take no damage. That's got to be one of the coolest effects, right? Like, you get the Evo, take no damage.
Oh, yeah. Especially into followers. When you're on the play, followers that have already traded in that are going to have high amount of attack and a low amount of defense, it's amazing.
So it's interesting also, in rotation I feel like the Fairy would have been Evo'd here just because you want to split a lot of times. But in Take 2, I think a lot of players like to put that big follower in play to force their opponent to Evo.
But when Pitfall is an option...
Right, you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah,
a little exactly. Dicey. So it's interesting. It's just a different type of play, and these are the things that I really like to point out too. It's just like I personally, just in strategy overall, would have probably Evo'd the Fairy without thinking about it. But once you do a little bit more work in Take 2, maybe you realize, no, I just need that big follower, not to split. Yeah. All right. So what are the options here? We can buff with the now freshly drawn I can't ever say that word right. Scathach.
I don't think many people knew how to say that word upon first reading. It's like, oh, let me read that again. Hold on.
Yeah. We know she's an angel, right? I think.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, she's got wings.
It's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, reasonable assumption, So she's like a guardian angel.
Yeah,
that would make sense. Yeah, she can give you buffs.
Yeah, like along with Uriel and the other angels and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so play here. Looks like Craving Splendor to start things off. That can help trade into the 5/6 without actually using an evolution orb. But there's no follow-up to this. This is the entire turn, so HISHIRO now back in the driver's seat.
But CRUMSION did save an Evo point that turn, which is huge, because he might be able to save that point on turn 7. Yeah. If he wants to, he'll certainly have an Evo point.
I like this, using all of HISHIRO's play points, getting some extra damage in, buffing his board, making it resilient to spell damage. Not too effective against Swordcraft, but still just, extra little benefit here.
Or Portalcraft, yeah.
Or Portalcraft, yeah, sorry.
But still just, removing options away from CRUMSION. CRUMSION doesn't have any spell damage in his hand, really, but, HISHIRO still just doing what he's got to do, man.
That's right.
Let's see, Automaton Knight, and getting a puppet seems really strong, especially with those 2/1 fairies.
Look at the demeanor of the two players right now. Just deep in thought, like, at the end of games, a little bit more elated, a little bit more sad. During the thick of things, just, like, into it, right? Like, hands on head or hands over mouth, like, just focused in on every play. Like, these players are taking it very seriously. Again, this is their practice, right? If they don't take this seriously, they're doing themselves a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so trading with the biggest follower that he can, and just playing another puppet generator here. I think HISHIRO's running out of gas this game, so not the same amount of options that he had last time. A lot less cards in his hand. No endgame potential like we saw before with the Omen.
Yeah. Definitely running out of options, running out of card draw. Meanwhile, CRUMSION has a Prime Artifact next turn.
And, this is really just playing into what I was talking about before. CRUMSION's been playing a lot of cards that replace themselves. HISHIRO this game, not so much. So, Pitfall is an option if he wants to clear out the 5/2. He can just trade into it, but that clears away his entire board. I don't know if he can afford to really give away his board right now, although he might not have a choice. Really now, this comes down to a decision of HISHIRO says, what can I draw in my deck to actually finish this game? If the answer is I don't really have a lot of good endgame cards, I need to protect my board as much as I can so I can keep pushing damage with these fairies. you know, at least until I draw something bigger that can then end, you know, from a lower defense total that CRUMSION has. But no, looks like he is going to start the trade game.
Yeah, he's going to start putting up bigger followers. I think that's the thing to do. I mean, when you get to this point.
Oh, I love this card.
The artwork is amazing on that bear.
It's great. It has a great effect. Enhance. It has rush. It grows.
Ooh.
Okay.
Basilius. Now I feel like you got a Prime Artifact.
Prime Artifact pretty good here.
It's super good.
Yeah, your opponent still has an Evo point. They can't really, I mean, you can Evo over Prime Artifact, but that doesn't feel good at all.
Pitfall, of course, and Divine Retribution are available to HISHIRO, but again, it's just kind of...
Divine Retribution destroys and not banishes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because that would
Obviously, that would be...
I'm just saying, hey, you know? Sometimes we saw HISHIRO have the perfect answer to the Servant of Usurpation last game. You know, maybe he has the perfect answer to Prime Artifact, but it looks like CRUMSION just wants to take back over the board. Really good stuff, and he saves his Evolution Orb.
Enemy sighted. Charge!
Here we go. Everybody getting Goblin Leaders today.
Pretty good roll this late in the game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Need to play back to the board here. Probably has to Evo over the opposing Goblin Leader here.
I think you got to. When that card gets a second Goblin, immediately is just so much better.
Yeah, I mean, then the third Goblin, then the fourth Goblin. If you don't
They
deal
don't
with it and they can
stop,
protect it, yeah, they don't stop. Generates those big-nosed Goblins all day.
And then your opponent throws down something bigger. Oh, crap, no, I have to deal with this other thing. I mean,
Yeah,
wow, there's just,
just
there's just
generating the
doppies,
one
man.
Yeah.
It's too many doppies.
Okay, so it looks like I like this Evo. This is basically putting 2 threats onto the board instead of 1. CRUMSION would have to run both of his followers into the Goblin Leader and leave behind a 4-1.
I think this is looking like Prime Artifact.
Said that last turn, though.
I did say that last turn. I wouldn't be saying that every single turn until it plays.
Sorry, I think Scathach
Yeah,
as a pump effect this turn is actually really good.
Or Basilius.
That's true. Basilius is actually pretty insane.
Basilius is
Sure,
Basilius is
So Basilius, what it does, 5/6 when you evolve it, no stats, but you banish all enemy followers with 3 defense or less. Turns out HISHIRO only has 3 defense or less followers right now, so...
As a matter of fact, he has 3, 2, and 1 defense.
Yeah, 3, 2, and 1. So pretty easy to clear board here. Yeah, you know what? I like it. And you leave behind a 5/6. Your opponent has no evos. You push 3 damage. There's not a lot of bad things going on.
Not a lot of bad things with that play.
And you have a ward to protect your big follower next turn.
Yep. You still have Scathach, Prime Artifact.
Scathach. We just call her Ska.
Scoff.
Yeah, Scoff.
That's a cool name.
She's so Scoff. That's Angel for Goth.
Angel, yeah, it's like Gothic.
Yeah. All right, so Prime Artifact is the play. Will it hit the Evo for the Goblin Leader? No. Allows the Goblin Leader to live.
Interesting. Wants to get more value out of the Basilius evolve next turn, I feel like.
HISHIRO. Again, okay. So what just happened again, right? Draws a card. Turns out it banishes something. And
yeah, okay.
Hugely elated.
All right. All right.
He's
okay.
got some blessing, I feel like, over the course of this year.
What blessing would you say that he has?
I would say it's good player mixed with positive vibes. Yeah.
Positive vibes.
It's the blessing of positive vibes. He's always in a good mood. He believes in himself. He believes in his decks. He builds very good decks. He gives himself these answers. And they just happen to appear for him, you know? It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. CRUMSION. Now you got a Basilius, man.
Where did this come from? No cards left in hand, really. HISHIRO draws the answer. The smile gets popped onto the face.
Yep. Really heads-up play from CRUMSION, not saving the Evo point on the Prime Artifact.
Has been
really
holding onto this Evo point like crazy. Another good turn for Basilius here. I don't know how much more value you can get, you know, over time.
He's thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a consideration there. He did draw into a Nicholas, which is another great, play this turn.
That's true. Nicholas also very good. Again, we've been talking about this. The longer you let Goblin Leader stay alive, the more just extra value it's going to get over time. I don't know how long you actually want to let that happen. And Basilius gets protected by a ward this turn. We talked about this. I like this play a lot. Basilius, then you get to play your Iron Staff mechanic. You get to play, Iron Staff mechanic, putting more wards in your deck is also very good when you get to the late game. Because they also draw cards.
Yeah.
I like this play a lot. Now, of course, Divine Retribution gets around this again, so another really nice answer for this if he wants to use it.
Horde Soldier as well is pretty good.
Just
Some
gonna
more options.
Say this, Unkilling cards are great. I love them now.
They're fun.
Every single Unkilling card that he's played has done something amazing.
We didn't see it at all in Wild Card. We didn't see it in the Contenders Cup.
Nope. Nope.
Unkilling just kind of fits in nicely, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. He hasn't played the Servant. That's the only thing we haven't seen.
That's true, yeah.
But everything else.
Markup and Killing came in clutch.
By the way, I'm actually very sad that we haven't gotten to see Majerabane on either side yet.
I completely forgot this is a Maribane game. Golly.
Yeah, yeah.
Why'd you got to remind me
That's
of that?
right. Well, I had to throw it in there because we've been missing it. But here we go. Install big follower. Kill your opponent's big follower. That's what you need to be doing. There we go. Starting the train off early here with those Mystic Artifacts as well. I think Nicholas is also a very good option. We talked about that. Nicholas, good option. Yeah, a lot of things here. So it really just depends on if CRUMSION wants to set up a small board and go wide. If he wants to draw this turn. If he wants to make a big play, such as play the Nicholas. Nicholas doesn't get full value, though. Because if you play Nicholas here, it allows the 5-4 to trade into the 2-3 before your board gets to trade it all. So it looks like he's going to draw first. Ooh.
Perfect draw there.
That's right. So now CRUMSION coming into the nice top decks.
Okay, nice. That's fair.
That is fair. That's definitely fair.
He earned it.
This board is a little bit tougher to deal with now. Again, no Evo points. HISHIRO has now only Pitfall left in his hand and no big followers left over.
It's a wider board. One big removal spell is not going to be the answer. Ooh, not that draw, certainly.
Not that draw. That's right. But he does have the Hornet in hand. Unfortunately, the Hornet can only take down a small follower here. Pitfall can take out another. Looks like Pitfall will be used. Pitfall, of course, another one of those premier removal cards in Take 2, just because it is neutral. It's bronze. Everybody can pick it up. You generally want to take as many of them as you can.
Yeah.
Rain, yeah, just play to the board, doing everything you can. I believe it's a Fairy Torrent in hand, which is, it can bounce permanents he controls and it can heal him, but when you don't have any permanents left, it doesn't really do anything.
Doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I think CRUMSION is now coming over the hill now. He's got plenty of good options, more big followers. He just came into another removal spell that he doesn't even need yet. I think this is a perfect turn for Nicholas. I think this is where you just slam it down, you start running the game home.
Yep. You can play Nicholas this turn, you can play Skythitch next turn.
It's just crazy. It's just from smiles back to focus again.
Yeah.
I love it from both players.
It's got a good moment, and okay, we're back in focus mode.
That's right. Gotta stretch the old shoulders.
Take a sip of the Red Bull, all that.
That's
all
right.
That stuff.
That's right. So CRUMSION really putting his time into this turn. Just how does he want to end this game? Does he want to trade this turn? Does he want to keep trying to play board control until he runs HISHIRO completely out of cards? Not a bad strategy in Take 2. Obviously, your card quality is a lot more diminished in Take 2 than in any other format, so if you can run your opponent out of cards, you still have cards left just in general, you're in a good spot.
Yep.
So it's like Nicholas is the play in no trades, just says, you know what? Game over time.
Gotta push face. Game over time.
Game over time. Again, with the Mountain Deity.
Oh my gosh.
This card, man, so good. But can't trade with anything else this turn. But can bounce the Deity to hand. It's very strong.
Ooh. Oh, that is really strong.
Yeah, I can't see using Fairy Torrent. Oh no. Unless I'm just reading that card wrong. That's not Fairy Torrent. It's
That's
very
Fairy
small.
Torrent,
It is
yeah.
Fairy Torrent. So
Yeah.
didn't want to bounce that. I don't know what better option he has in his deck than that. That's an interesting choice to keep that.
I guess just wants to keep the stats in play.
Guess so. Very good card here to come up the board after he gets rid of the 6-1. Will trade now. He's like, all right. I took my chances.
I don't know. He's going face, man. Nah, well, I mean, you got to go face again, man. You got to commit to something.
That's fair. He's got the Ska in hand, right? So he's got the extra pump to finish the game off outside of the ward follower, right? He's got 8 damage in play. Skythitch adds +2/+2, but he's really boiling over with this attack right now. He's toying with our emotions. I think going face actually makes the most sense because even if the ward follower is taken care of, you have lethal in hand. Or actually, you even just have lethal in play. Yeah, forget hand.
Forget the hand, man.
Forget the hand. Yeah.
Rakib's not going to do much.
Even if he had bounced, not good enough this turn. So CRUMSION going to tie things up.
Yeah, we're going to the final game in this best of 3, CRUMSION versus HISHIRO.
It's anybody's game.
It's anybody's game, man. We've seen, I mean, like HISHIRO, of course, had a great first game, and CRUMSION just came right back and took it away.
I honestly thought that game, I mean, it took a long time, right? So it looked like HISHIRO had the lead for a while, then CRUMSION had the lead, then HISHIRO had the lead. It was a lot of back and forth. At the end of the day, though, more cards that replaced themselves on the side of CRUMSION really just said, I had more things to do once we got to the later game, and you couldn't really come back to that.
And that game went until players had drawn at least half of the cards in their deck, and we did not see Mirabane.
We did not. All right, so CRUMSION actually going to pick up on Forest now. I like it. We're going to see him fly through this.
Probably.
I like left here.
CRUMSION was very noteworthy Forest player in Brigade of the Sky.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I'm sure it extends into this honestly because Forestcraft plays very similarly, right? Play to the board early, try to maintain your advantage. Very good stuff. Ooh, that's a tough pick. I like both sides here.
Flower Fairies is a little slow.
It is, but it's card draw.
Yeah.
Sylvan Justice is really good removal that replaces itself.
It is card draw, gives you a nice 0-cost 1/1. No problem with that.
Yeah, Flower Fairies. Water Fairy and Fairy Circle also just set the deck up really nicely.
Yeah, get a lot of fairies in your hand.
Yeah, so he's thinking the same things we are. It's like, I usually like to pick fast, but I've never had this choice before.
Yeah.
This is tough. This is good. Like, just really good utility cards that the deck wants on both sides. I think the more aggressive choice would have been the right side.
Nice. Owlbear's really good. Honestly,
I kind of like Owlbear. Ooh. Okay.
Servant in. We haven't seen the Servant yet.
We haven't. Again, this is
Flower
tough.
too,
Like, just a
yeah.
lot of utility in the hand here for both sides. Devil Flower, not really a huge consideration other than the fact that it's a 2-play point 2/1.
If you don't have a lot of 2-drops, you might just want that Genesis of Legend.
I think that was an instant Genesis of Legend.
Yep.
In Forestcraft, that feels really good.
Insta-gen, man.
Ooh, Pitfall versus Holy Angel.
Kind of like the Holy Angel. Doesn't have a lot of 5-drops. This curve is looking nice, too.
It is.
This curve is looking really nice.
It's really Pitfall. It might fit the curve a little bit better. But I mean, Holy Angel's just so good. But no, he's gonna go with the left there. So Leaf Man, I think we've seen how powerful Leaf Man can be. Okay. Some extra 3-drops there. Yeah, look at this curve. 10 2-drops.
Gilnelise and Mirabane on the end.
Gilnelise? Hello. But those other 2 cards on the left are great too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is really tough. So what best fits
I'm going Gilnelise.
the deck from what we've seen? You're going Gilnelise.
I mean, look at the curve, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, it gives you a win condition at the end of the game. Majerabane also gives you a win condition at the end of the game. The 2 cards on the left play the same game every other card in the deck already plays. They do it a little bit better.
CRUMSION might only have 1 or 2 repeats as well. We might see an effective Mirabane.
It's one of those things that you just have to consider and take 2 now, is maybe just not taking duplicates, even if they're good cards. You're probably still going to take duplicates of good cards.
Sure.
But yeah, it's tougher now. Yeah, again, another one of these picks that's tough. Like Paula and Tia play into his deck very well, right?
Yeah,
They're just really well-rounded early drops that give you advantage. Gilnelise and Majerabane help you on the other side of your deck, whereas if your first half fails, then you have a backup plan. And I believe he did go with the backup plan there.
Chaldea, any thoughts? Good.
I think he's just happy to watch.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was a good point you made.
I think he's just happy to watch. Yeah.
Such a way with words.
Yeah. You know what? He's silent, but you know when he speaks.
Very poignant words.
Very poignant words.
Very poignant words.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys are enjoying the matchup today so far. Of course, we've got more exciting Shadowverse coming up. I love Take 2 right now.
Take 2's
I
fun,
love it.
man.
I love it.
Take 2's really good. All right, game 3. HISHIRO's got Swordcraft. Great option there, and now this is kind of a rematch of the first game, just flip-flopped.
That's right, and we'll see if HISHIRO can get it done. This curve is looking pretty nice. Has a few options here. Again, we see
CRUMSION space. We drew to the Mirabane. Oh, that's great.
maybe he doesn't have any duplicates, or maybe his face is just, I don't have... He has 10 2-drops.
He has 10 2-drops. That's a lot.
He has 2 1-drops, 10 2-drops. If he doesn't get a 2-drop here...
Oh my
Wow!
gosh. 2 hard soldiers. No way, dude.
He
He
feels
had
it.
such a
All
good
he can do
curve.
is smile about it, too. I know. He built this
Oh my
to be
gosh.
so quick, and he drew all of his top end.
Oh man.
What is going on? CRUMSION, my dude.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
There's the 2-drop.
Yikes.
Drew it into the 2-3. Oh man.
I feel like he has to reduce the 2-3,
Yeah,
so the
he's got
2-3
to.
can't trade in for free here.
Yeah.
This feels bad. Still has a chance, though. Maybe Vajerabane can get him back into it. I don't know, though. This is kind of rough now. Missing your 2-drop and then playing a 2-drop on 3 when your opponent has been playing on curve feels bad. But we'll get outside of that. We'll see if he can come back to it. He does have good options going into turns 4 and beyond.
He's got great options going into 4 and
Yeah.
beyond.
So we'll see if he can turn it back. HISHIRO also very good options here, just really solid on-curve options. Lancer of the Tempest is probably a consideration here just because it can clear and then you can push your 3 damage. But do you want to save that for 7, especially against Forest because it can clear an entire board?
Yep, can't clear board. He has a Weathered Vanguard for 7 as well, so he's got options there. But still, I feel like just having the higher enhance effects on cards, especially Lancer and Weathered Vanguard, are so strong.
It's true. It's a tough turn. So we'll trade
But I'll persist forever.
You messing with country folk?
and fill up the board. All right.
I never got into Princess.
And I kind of like Axe Princess. It's one of those 1-drops, like you don't really like 1-drops in Take 2 just because they get outclassed by every 2-drop in the game almost.
Sure.
But when they can draw you a card every now and again, not the worst.
Not bad.
Yeah, not the worst.
You're
Especially a
done
1-1. Not the biggest target on the board.
This
Will almost
way
never be.
you fall.
And I love the effect here. Look at this. Just clear off the entire board.
That was really nice.
Good stuff. So now HISHIRO needs to play back. So while it looked really bad for the first couple of turns, look at the cards left in hand for each player. Look at the board.
Yeah, CRUMSION's definitely got a lot more options to play with.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes is just one effect.
I only wish.
One effect gets you right back into the game. Of course, you know, board-wide wipe effects are always very good. And now, CRUMSION has the tempo with a lot of good mid to late game options. What's funny is he's still not coming into his early game. Like, where did it go?
It's still there.
It's still
so
in his
20
deck.
cards. He's going to draw 10 2-drops in a row now. That's what that's going to mean.
So that is the weird part about CRUMSION's draw. He doesn't have very many high-cost cards left in his deck, so he might just have to win with the power that he has left, because off the top, probably going to be a lot of 2-drops.
Right. Yep, definitely a consideration. And it could mean that CRUMSION breaks out of this game later in the later turns. But of course,
I mean, HISHIRO's got to push him there.
Yeah,
Right now,
exactly.
he's really far behind. He doesn't have a lot of options. He just came into the Vulse. Vulse is fine. He doesn't really have a good turn this turn. I mean, he can play the Scathach and Evo over the 5-4, but it's left with 1 defense.
I mean, that might just be all he has to do.
I mean, you could just play Vulse and pass, but then you're just leaving a 5-4 in play. One of the things it's really hard to do in Take 2, where you can do in rotation, is sometimes you can just allow a big follower to stay alive because you'll have a really good turn the following turn. But in the case of Take 2, it's not always available to have a play that can come back to the board every other turn. So
Right.
I don't know if you can really let this 5-4 stay alive. It looks like HISHIRO's not going to.
You are done for.
Shiro still has a Weathered Vanguard for next turn.
For our fated battle.
So CRUMSION, I feel like the Mirabane is not going to be active. Just a sneaking suspicion.
I'm crossing my fingers that it is, because I just want to see it be active.
Oh, it's not active. No, wait. Would it have the yellow? No, it wouldn't. That's the enhance signaling.
I don't know.
Huh. I don't remember.
Well, it's not just enhance.
Yeah, it's just a leader effect.
There's a fanfare.
Yeah, it's a fanfare, and it's a leader effect. It's not an enhance effect.
Well, so Valnarek has it, so it lights up.
Oh, that's true.
Cards do light up when they're active, so yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's not active. Yeah, that's true. It would have a yellow border if it was active. And he didn't slam it. That's the first choice. Yeah.
It'd be a nice, easy answer to this board. Catalina, of course, if Mirabane is not active, another good
There's
choice.
more than one way to fight a
Play to
battle.
a ward. Prevents damage to itself so it stays alive. Really good stuff. Essentially, if you guys have been noticing a good trend, in Take Two, in pretty much every format, if you can evolve over your opponent's follower, a lot better than it trading into their follower. And here we go. The card that was adjusted to make 1/2s now, filling up the board. Really good option to draw into here. Needed something like that just to try to push for board control.
Has been a ward in his hand with the Goblin Mount.
Not a heavy amount of removal. Has a Hornet, but, you know, Hornet's not really good into this board.
Yeah. This is a difficult turn.
This is. Has a decent number of 6-drops, though. So maybe just plays to the board big. Maybe plays a 5 and a 2, just to play to the board more. I don't think he's really worried about this turn. It's more just how he wants to set up for his following turns. I think the 6-drop is going face. I don't think you deny the 6 damage by running into one of these small followers here. Don't do your opponent's job for them. Of course, he doesn't know that HISHIRO's hiding a Vulse right now, and Vulse can take care of that without trading anything in.
That's true.
Has Usurping Spineblade as well.
Getting into the turns now for HISHIRO when Jiraiya will become relevant on turn 9.
Jiraiya's pretty decent. Okay, I like this option. Fairy Saber played, pushing more damage face, not using any Evo points. All good things.
Ball's a great option here. Spineblade and Alade as well can deal with the Catalina. I feel like Vulse is the cheapest and the easiest, well, aside from Spineblade. it's still the
However,
cheapest.
because it is this late in the game, maybe Vulse is wanting to be saved as a big removal spell, getting the Pure Bomb instead. And which means the Spineblade is probably the option this turn. See what you get first. Again, always do your card draw first. Figure out what your options are.
Sure.
Be really nice to get that Gilded Blade again. You know, just take care of an extra 2/1 for free.
Be pretty nice.
See what he gets.
Not to be I can satisfied. get
Looks like
back
a
up.
Boots.
Okay, nice.
Boots also very good.
Not bad. He can safely Evo, and then he'll still have the boots left over. He wants to slam down Jiraiya on a nice turn and then give that rush.
Don't get too carried away.
Okay, so it just looks like he's going for the entire board clear this turn, not saving any of his resources for dealing with later turns. Thinks board control is the way to go this game. Can't
He does
really
save an
fault
Evo
him.
point, so that's nice.
Saves an Evo point, like you said, Boots in hand means he could technically save another Evo point or even use one and still have something like an Evo point left over.
Yeah. Airbane's still not active.
Still not active. Tough card to be active.
Yeah. Still no Gilnelise in hand either.
Yeah, Gilnelise would be really good, but now that HISHIRO has taken over the board, maybe not so good. Of course, maybe in combination with something like the Owlbear could get some good use out of it. I mean, that's only 1 away from lethal. With the ambush on both followers, that actually is lethal over 2 turns.
That is true.
You
Imagine
high-
buffing
you
up the
high roll.
Owlbear with Skytitch.
That too, yeah. Interesting choices this turn. I mean, it depends on if he wants to play removal or if he just wants to go into a bigger endgame and just try to push for lethal damage over a few turns, because he has big followers to do it with. And he has Ward in his hand to protect big followers. So does he want to go wide and cheap, or does he want to go big? It looks like wide and cheap.
I feel like that's definitely the case, especially considering the Jiraiya in hand for HISHIRO. I probably can't really anticipate that. Maybe you can.
You can't anticipate that card. Yeah, legendaries are tough to anticipate. Looks like he's running out of time, so needs to get going here. Hornet Soldier have been an all-star so far. We've seen in pretty much every game. Just an awesome card that not only replaces itself, but replaces itself with a removal spell. Alright, so it looks like filling up the board as much as he can, getting some removal in hand.
Tycoon's not a bad
Very
choice.
good stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Again, his name, if you remember.
Javarius.
Javarius,
Yeah.
that's right. Javarius the
Of
Tycoon.
course.
Javarius the King.
How could I forget the first Team Tacular that we did
That's
together?
true. That's true.
He's got Rush to use along with the Tycoon as well.
That's right. Folks, not his real name. The name we have dubbed him.
Yes, of course.
Yes,
There's
yes.
nothing in the lore
No.
about
No.
Tycoon's
Money
name.
makes the world go
No,
round.
but awesome card to have here. Big follower that draws a bunch of cards.
Draws to you 5 in your hand, not bad.
Again, has boots, but seems like an awkward target to use boots on now that you're staring down a 5/4.
So do you to go face with the other and then end?
I think you Evo. Again, I don't think you can afford that much damage
Another
going to your
6
face
damage,
late in the
yeah.
game. So I guess one of the other aspects of Take-Two we didn't really talk about is just damage racing, right? So if you've noticed, it's actually very hard to get damage in this game until the very end game when you are left with cards and your opponent isn't.
Sure.
So every time you give your opponent the option to chunk a quarter of your defense, it's not going well for you. You don't want to let that happen because, like, say for instance that 5/7 damage gets in, then an owlbear slams down and the game's already over. You know what I mean? And you can't do anything about it. So I think you have to trade with those big followers. Again, sorry, my friend. No mirror bane. Not happening.
No mirror bane.
No, not gonna happen.
Bummer, man. But
Picked up not once, thrice, and not played.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
But these heavy knights are putting in work.
And
They're
this
getting
is
value.
This is actually the reason Swordcraft got adjusted, was because that card, I believe, put in bigger followers than 1/2s before.
Yeah.
And if you notice how much work 1/2s are doing, bigger followers are better.
Oh, yes. 2/2s, significantly better than 1/2s.
Yeah. Significantly.
Twice as much damage.
Twice as much damage.
2 damages, twice as much.
That's right. We are maths here. We are good at the maths. You know, I've been hearing from the European players when they came out for the Contenders Cup that it's people in America say it wrong. It's not math. The subject isn't math. It's maths.
That's right. I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously short of mathematics. But when
Which
you
is
short
plural.
mathematics, it should be
Maths.
Yeah.
But we all say math.
You gotta say math.
Yeah. It's because we're all dumb.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Americans. Well.
All right. So HISHIRO, again, option with the boots. If he wants to rush something out there, has the big boy follower in hand as well.
Can rush out the Jiraiya.
Yeah,
It's
Jiraiya.
getting some good value. Can trade into the Witherwood. When it becomes a 1/1, and you can take the rather heavy knight. But maybe just the Aladay.
Yeah.
Aloaday.
Aloaday?
Aloaday.
Aloaday. Yeah.
Use it?
Don't talk to me right now. I don't know what you're saying anymore.
I don't know these words.
The words, they are hard. See, we're Americans, okay? I still say math, all right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, other words, too hard.
Yeah. I'm still going to say math.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life.
I'm not going to say math for the rest of my life.
No one's going to make me say math.
1 in chat if you're going to say math for the rest of your life. Or 2 in chat if you are a maths person.
Or just write math or maths.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah. Fill up the chat. All right.
And it is the Jiraiya.
I think it's a good option here. It stinks to use this early, quote unquote, just because you're not hitting a bunch of big followers. But I think HISHIRO was on the plan I was talking about last game, where you just need to keep all of the things that you have in play because you're going to run out of the board if you ever lose your 1/1s.
Yeah. Now there's an 8/8 follower that CRUMSION's going to have to deal with. There's not.
He does have an Evo though.
He
Owlbear
does have
can
Evo.
do it, but that's using your Owlbear.
It's using your Owlbear and your last Evo.
He's got a Hornet too.
Yeah.
Hornet's good. Hornet, you know, very good flavor, right? It does exactly what you would think it would do. Although,
It's got a nasty sting.
in a game, in real life, if that were true, then I would be definitely afraid of Hornets. But
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Like, that is a scary creature. Just took down Jiraiya.
yeah, exactly.
Nasty, man.
Yeah, Hornets back in the Shadowverse, you know, or in the Shadowverse universe, they're rough. They sting you. You're done.
You wouldn't.
I mean, they're done too, but you're done. So Owlbear now finally hitting the table. I like this. Again, has Ward to protect after he goes face with the Owlbear. Can Evo the Owlbear to make it an 8/8. Of course, that might play into a removal spell that HISHIRO might have. Ooh.
Enchanted Library, okay.
I don't know how good that is in Swordcraft,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Getting
probably
random
not-
spells.
Probably not the best.
But if he does have good neutral spells, like removal spells that he might need,
Like Pitfall.
like Pitfall,
Yeah.
could be very good. Alright, so HISHIRO taking his time here. Again, I don't think he's going to trade with the 1/1. I think he needs to keep pushing damage with these 1/1s. So what does that mean for his hand? He can play Servant and give it Rush this turn for the 1/1 and start generating some value.
Can give Master Samurai Rush.
True.
Can attack twice each turn, or Aloaday, get another removal and damage spell, or another Evo point as well.
I kind of like Servant Gilded Boots here. It feels very nice to me. Value oriented, it could get him heal. Okay, Grand Auction being the play instead. Wants to filter. Okay, and then Master Samurai. Okay, so just putting some stats into play.
That's mine.
And not giving the Servant Rush. Infiltrate.
He's
Okay.
really hanging on to that Gilded Boots, man.
He is. He wants it for a big follower, and I can't really, I can't fault him for that. Later in the game, you need ways to kill big followers. Ooh.
That's really, really nice.
How was I talking about this endgame winning? Gilnelise plus Owlbear?
Okay.
That's a 1-2 punch that you can't do anything about. I think Gilnelise, you don't even have to Evo face here. You just Gilnelise, Evo face, or I just said Evo. Sometimes I can't stop saying Evo face. It's built into my soul.
It's built into our hearts and our minds.
Yeah. Evo face.
Evo face.
So Gilnelise and just face. And then next turn you have Gilnelise that also has ambush, will be drawing you a bunch of cards, can also go face. Very good things.
Yep.
So just thinking about his options, is there anything that Ward has? I think this is the thought process. Is there anything that he might have left in his deck that has Ward? The end. If he does have Ward, how many cards do I have left in my deck that can remove a Ward? Gilnelise, outside of just giving your entire team +2/+0, at the beginning of your turn will draw each player 5 cards on top of the card they draw per turn. So if you don't win with it, you could give your opponent a chance to get back into this game.
Not to mention, the Master Samurai can attack twice.
It's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage if that goes face, man.
That's true. I guess we didn't even talk about how HISHIRO could win this game.
Yeah.
8 damage is sitting in play for him next turn as well. Yep, ignored.
Oh, yeah, and the Owlbear subtracts six
That's true.
damage on the Master Samurai.
And there's no ward.
There's no ward.
There's not enough heal. He's got to attack with the Servant here and hopefully get a heal. Just so he doesn't die to Gilnelise, but he still has to deal with the rest of this board.
I think that's his only option. He has to get healed.
I think I would have really liked the Gilded Boots on the Servant last turn. Start getting some options opening up.
Oh man, that Owlbear subtracting attack from 3 followers.
So good. Another Boots.
Another Boots.
Not going to get use out of both of them as fast.
Get the Evo here. Okay, nice.
Beautifully.
Loa Day Spear. So can evolve now.
Oh, I think that's lethal.
Wait,
he's got 13 damage.
did
he can Evo the Master Samurai.
Oh, and it can attack
for
twice.
6. And now it's got. Oh my gosh!
Oh, look at
Nice!
this! Never mind.
Are
I didn't
you
even see
kidding
this
me?
lethal. 7 attack after both of the Great Swords can attack twice with Aloha Day's ability to let it Evo.
Oh my
What?
gosh!
HISHIRO is the man. CRUMSION's like, what?
CRUMSION's
Look at
racking
his
his
face!
brain over that
How did
play.
this just happen? My life! Look at it! There's the smile. What?
Oh my
That-
gosh!
What a perfect ending
Wow.
to that match. So, first time HISHIRO meets CRUMSION, HISHIRO wins. I cannot say enough good things about HISHIRO and MENSOU right
Dude,
now.
he's just proven himself right every single game. Every single time he gets
just
HISHIRO.
knows what he's doing. I had no idea that play was available.
No, I didn't realize. Okay, yeah, he can evolve the Master Samurai for free, or not for free, with the Aloha Day. That's 6 play points.
Yeah.
To play the Aloha Day, get the Evil Point, and then the Great Swords buff him up.
Here's a thing that I need to like. I talk about HISHIRO, right? Every time I watch him play, I'm just like, man, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. But he just seems to win with the way he does it. I need to just accept it now. If he does something, it is the truth.
We just have to. Wow, that's the best possible.
That
play
is the best possible
because
play.
HISHIRO did
Yeah,
it.
because he did it.
Wow. So that is 1 point to the side of the European team.
Up 1-0 right now against
Up
Pan
1-0.
America. That's
and
right.
now we've got our next match. We're going to be seeing POTWASHER and MENSOU. Of course, there's a Twitter poll for that, so make sure you vote who you think's going to win in Unlimited, POTWASHER or MENSOU. Of course, you can wait to vote till we see the deck list, till we get the interviews done, so you can see exactly
You have
what these
up
players
until
are
the
playing
games start.
with.
That's right. That's right. So I want to see a shift, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I think everybody loves POTWASHER. You know what I mean? But again, MENSOU.
This is MENSOU. He took down Sheepy.
He
man.
took down
Twice.
Sheepy 3 times.
That's 3 times.
Three times. He's the only person to consistently beat what most people consider to be the best player in Europe multiple times.
But
And
this is unlimited.
it is unlimited.
This is a little bit. Again, like HISHIRO showed us what it was up in Take Two.
Take Two.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been practicing all these formats. We gave them a week to do it. They're top-level competitors. I've talked about POTWASHER ad nauseum this season, and to his credit, because he's an insanely good player.
Yep.
He's one of the best we've seen. He's actually one of my favorites in the World Grand Prix.
CRUMSION calls him the best player in Pan America.
I would agree with him. I think he's insane. I just think we have a lot to learn about HISHIRO and MENSOU, and I think we're going to see the vote kind of skew towards POTWASHER because he's the favorite. We might see a little something.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, MENSOU definitely, sort of like HISHIRO, kind of the similar story, came out of nowhere and tours. I believe that's where it was.
And I
Tours?
think
Yeah.
that's about it. It was like tours, win, come to the Contenders Cup, beat
Win.
Sheepy a bunch,
Yeah.
and win.
So these French players just show up, and of course ESSIA is the exception. He's a very consistent player.
Just ESSIA is one of the most consistent
But
players.
HISHIRO and MENSOU, they just know some things.
They just know some things.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about him anymore other than what I've said. Right? It's just like there's this this mist that surrounds them.
There's this aura around
Yeah.
these French players who just have something that we don't. Man.
Something that we don't. We still need to learn about it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that we're sending these players to the World Grand Prix.
I think the bunch that we have going is the best choice that we have. Obviously because they won, but
Sure.
just I mean their mentalities afterwards. Having conversations with them when we were out back, you know, when we had all the players here, just really level-headed, really good ideas about what they want to do. Very focused players, and especially like we just saw, like HISHIRO and CRUMSION, both people that are taking time away from their schooling, still getting both done, but still have the focus, the determination, and the drive to not only take that time out, but also take time out to go to Japan and play. You know what I mean? Take all this time out to practice for these big events and like do it like, you know, like 10-hour days, like 8-hour days.
These players are so dedicated. This entire year we put them through the grinder with the open qualifiers and then the Contenders Cup. So dedicated. So we've got POTWASHER on the line for you. POTWASHER, my man, what is up? How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Good to hear that. So POTWASHER, I've actually been noticing you've been streaming a lot lately. I've actually been in your stream a couple times asking questions and hopping around. How do people watch you and your journey? Because I know you're kind of pushing it out there for people. How do they follow you?
I do stream on twitch.tv/POTWASHER. I try to do a variety of content now. I think Take Two is one of those formats where you really do need to adjust to it, and it looked like from what I saw on stream so far, like CRUMSION and HISHIRO were playing really well, really like board centric and taking really nice trades and stuff in the value game, and it's really different. So it's something that you need to commit to in a long-term plan. So I have been working on that as much as possible, and I think Take Two's the format that I've been working on the most so far.
Nice, interesting. Okay, Take Two, nice. So tell us a little bit about what's been taking up your time post Contenders Cup. Obviously, you've been streaming a lot. How has the training been? I'm assuming you've been training with CRUMSION and ESSIA now that ESSIA is on Tempo Storm. But how has that? The weeks of that? How's that been?
Yeah, so like I said, I think all three formats are going to be very important. The rule set for World Grand Prix just came out like maybe a day or two ago. So it's going to be 2 rounds of Unlimited, and then 2 rounds of Take Two, and then 4 rounds of rotation constructed format. And it's going to be 8 rounds Swiss in the very beginning. Or I don't know if it's Swiss, but 8 rounds in the very beginning. So proportionally, it is going to be very important to work on rotation the most. But of course, we're going to have some more shakeups along the line with the mini expansion coming, I assume, as well as some maybe balance changes, who knows. So it is going, I think right now it's going to be best to work on Take Two as well as Unlimited, which tends to not change as much as the rotation format.
Sure. So Unlimited, talk to us. We know that Gremory's been changed. We know a few things have been shaken up, like Dark Feast Bat's a little bit slower on Unlimited. How do you feel Unlimited is right now, and why did you go with the decks that you're bringing today?
I brought some decks that I kind of enjoy, I guess, at this time around. I honestly think my Force deck is not that good. I think just a regular Roachless is probably just better, but I kind of there was an unlimited tournament, an open tournament a few weeks ago, and some of my teammates were playing it. So I think like some of my friends, like Zero Fine was playing it maybe, and I just kind of tried it and didn't think about it too much. But I think now that decks have been submitted and I've been trying out some of those matchups, it might be a little bit difficult, but the other two decks I've definitely refined and they're really fun, and you don't get to see Blood too often and Unlimited anymore, but it's still really strong in my opinion. So like the mid-range Blood kind of thing is really cool, I think.
Yeah, that's what the Crucible's for, training.
Yeah,
so tell
training.
us about Dark Feast Bat in Unlimited. It's obviously very strong in Take-Two. I mean, I know that I've been playing Dark Feast Bat in Unlimited since its release. Blood-Fed Flower Bed is just so great with it, but how do you feel like it kind of matches up against some of the stronger decks in Take-Two, like Mid-Shadow, for instance?
So a moment ago, I said like mid-range Blood, and I wouldn't really categorize it as Dark Feast Bat. There's 2 copies of Dark Feast Bat in the deck, and the ideal is to win off of like Floros and Volneric and board control. So maybe you get like Viras and stuff like that. So like ideally you aren't really winning, you don't even need to win with Dark Feast Bat. So I don't know if you would even call it like a Dark Feast Bat deck. It's just like a self-damage, like a Floros, Volneric, and then on the top end we have Dark Feast Bat, and it just happens to be in the deck because it synergizes really well. And
it's true. I think in his list he's only running 2, so it's just kind of like a
Yeah.
backup win condition type of deal. Well, good stuff. So, your opponent right now, MENSOU. Have you ever had a chance to play against him? You know, do you have any words for him at all? How do you feel about this matchup coming up?
Yeah, MENSOU, the I mean I've seen some of my friends like Sheepy struggle against them, and I know my European friends have played against them quite a bit, but not the people in Pan America. So I'm looking forward to playing against MENSOU, and yeah, Unlimited, I didn't really know what to expect, but just kind of expected some of the more popular deck choices, so I think it's going to be an interesting match.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, we'll let you dive into that. We'll let you focus in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
Ah, good stuff. I like it. MENSOU, I've seen some of my friends have a lot of problems against him, and I don't really know.
Seen some of the best players in the world lose
Yeah.
against MENSOU,
Yeah, so we're going to find out today, right? And in the limited where he said, so it looks like he has been focusing on Take-Two. I know he's been playing a lot of rotation on stream. Maybe Unlimited, like it's tough, right? You're trying to do so many things. Even if you have a week to focus on Unlimited, the end goal for these players is still the World Grand Prix, so maybe they have their own kind of schedules worked out for how they want to get things done week to week. And maybe this week a little bit tougher for him in Unlimited. That might give him a disadvantage going into MENSOU, who might have prepared a little bit better for this week. As a matter of fact, so focused today that he just wanted to jump into his games, didn't want to come on camera, just, just wanted to get in.
Really wanted to focus in.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll get a look at exactly what these players' deck lists are going to be in just a little bit, but I believe, MENSOU has brought Dragoncraft, like a Storm Dragon variation like we used to see.
It's very popular now on Unlimited. It's basically just the deck that people have been picking up as one of their decks, if not the deck they've been laddering with, because it's good against Blood. It's good against the crazy nonsense Havencraft deck.
We'll see a little bit of that. But yeah, it turns out just having unanswerable damage in your hand in the form of Forte, Ina, whatever else, whatever other hundreds of Storm options that Dragon has. Genesis Dragon and Azidahaka's. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. But yeah, I think he's bringing actual slow Seraph Haven. So I think what happened in Unlimited, and I think people kind of understood that, City of Gold Havencraft came out, and people were like, this deck's ridiculous, right? You play City of Golds, like you try to get one in your hand, it comes out for free on turn 2. Then you just get to pop all of your amulets every turn and play Havencraft like it was a normal deck. Like all the amulets, you could play them as spells.
3 cost, 3/4 Storm, or
yeah,
whatever.
You have 4 cost destroy 2 followers, 2 cost destroy follower. Like just really good stuff, an infinite card draw in the deck. But people are like, wait a minute, I know how to beat this now. I know how to tempo this specifically. And then this counter like Seraph version of City of Gold came out that I feel like is very good. You can control your opponent's amulets with like Marwyn. And if your opponent's not even playing the City of Gold deck, now you just have a ramp version of Seraph, which Havencraft has never had before, where you have consistent amulet popping early because City of Gold's still good in that deck. And then you have Marwyns for ramp and like heal, and then, just a really good going into the end game type of
Yeah,
type
and you
of
have
deck.
the follower version of Seraph, just basically a guaranteed way to ensure that Seraph sticks around because
Yeah.
players have been throwing in Satungers into their decks just as ways to banish amulets. I don't like it. It's gross.
So I kind of have some words about that too. So a lot of people, because a lot of people have been asking me this question in Discord and stuff like that, like, what if I just play Seraphic Blade for City of Golds? What if I just play, you know, very specific removal spells just to try to get it off the board? You're not really doing anything because they can just pass with 2 play points up again and get it out for free. So you're essentially just stalling both players for 2 play points, but you're getting rid of a card and they get to pull one out of their deck. So you don't want to fight against City of Gold by destroying its amulets. You want to fight against it by understanding what it's going to be doing on its turns to tempo.
Right, yeah. And especially, I mean, yeah, we joked about Seraph coming back into the meta, and yet, here it is.
Yeah,
It is,
so
it's really
Unlimited,
strong.
it's back. In rotation, it's back as well, just because the format has slowed down just a little bit. I still think it needs a little bit more tweaking to be really good. I think that Tenko performs a little bit better than it at the current stage. However, I think that it definitely has a lot of room to grow in rotation.
Yeah, Godsworn Alexiel was one of the cards that got its cost reduced.
That's right.
Along with Yggdrasil, so now it's a 7-cost, 5/5 ward that can basically just allow you to survive for however long you need.
That's right. Aya Senpai and I had a little argument going the other day about Godsworn Alexiel and how good it is against Bloodcraft, and the fact that he feels very comfortable playing Haven against Bloodcraft now because Alexiel is reduced in cost. You can play it before the bat has a chance to come out now.
Yeah, Alexiel and the bat have traded costs.
Exactly. So now there is more protection going on and things like that. However, you still have to draw it. You only play like 2 because you can't really afford to play 3 in the deck. I beat him down a couple times, and the funny thing is he can't fight me back right now, so it's good times.
All right, let's take a look at MENSOU's Haven craft list. See exactly what he's bringing. So, 2 of Enstatued Seraph, 1 of Lapis Seraph. Okay, so he's got basically 3 Enstatued Seraphs available to him. One's a little bit slower, but 3 of Marwyn. There's Healing Prayer, of course, City of Gold. There's ways to reduce the cost of amulets. He's throwing in De La Fee as well.
I mean, look at this deck, right? So this is basically just the forward progression or evolution of the City of Gold deck. You don't need 2 of them, you only need 1 of them. You play things that get reduced by 1 and just pop and do crazy things. You get to play Themis' Decree again in a control deck, and you just play a really slow deck that builds up to Seraph and just wins the game. He's not even playing anything like Aegis is another way you could take the end game as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But it looks like Seraph is the choice for him. The reason I like Seraph right now is because Healing Prayer specifically is very, very, very good in Unlimited. Any type of mass heal that you can just spot heal yourself against like a bat deck, against an aggro dragon deck, against any of these decks, put yourself at a lethal range, give yourself that extra time to win the game.
Not to mention the De La Fee as well. And of course, something important to note is that City of Gold only reduces the cost of amulets when you play those amulets from your hand. So
Correct.
Lapis Glorious Seraph, when Enstatued Seraph comes into play, does not get reduced by City of Gold.
Right, because if it did, then you'd win the game immediately, and that wouldn't be very fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it would just filter through all of them. But yeah, really good defensive deck here. Love it.
Let's take a look at Potwasher's Forest list. He has White Wolf, Silverbolt, and Azudia.
This is a
there as
throwback.
well. This is a nice little comfort pick. I mean, like, this is a deck that's been around for a really long time.
It is, and I like it. It has a few new elements to it, right? Azudia, so that you can actually just win the game late in the game with a Silverbolt if you want to. He's got Yggdrasil, yeah, or Burst Shot. He's got 2 Burst Shots in this bad boy. So basically this is make a bunch of fairies, let a bunch of fairies die, win with either Yggdrasil combos with fairies if you dealt early damage or Burst Shot, or get White Wolf out and get Silverbolt or Azudia, depending on what you have in your hand already, and just win the game through that. Because in this deck, you can essentially play Silverbolt and Azudia in the same turn and just win the game. That's what White Wolf does.
That's insane.
That's insane.
And not to mention, Wood of Brambles is back. Wood of Brambles is back.
I don't like where this conversation is
I don't know. We don't have to go there. I'll spare you.
Wood of Brambles in Unlimited is fine. It's not as it's actually a card that you don't or can't even find a chance to play a lot of the time because you're not really fighting to the board the same way you were in rotation when it was there.
Right.
Cards are a little bit stronger Unlimited. Things are, a little bit more combo oriented, so you can kind of fight around the 1/1s trying to trade with the board in this format.
Sure. So that's interesting, but again, like if there's Forest into Seraph, then I don't know. I feel like Seraph can just with Godsworn Alexiel. It's such a good matchup because the burst shot's doing less damage, Silverbolt's doing less damage. I mean, it feels like everything that Havencraft wants.
Let's see how it shakes down. So, guys, Potwasher versus MENSOU, Tempo Storm versus Revelation, again, America versus France. And it looks like Forestcraft versus Havencraft will be the first matchup.
Not too bad.
The funny thing is Forestcraft in Unlimited and in old rotation formats has been notoriously good at taking down Havencraft. But with these new decks, I mean, Potwasher is not playing the standard Roach deck, which I feel like is very, very good against any form of Havencraft. Is not playing the standard Roach list. He's playing a very late game list, which might suffer against a list like this, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Roach can win the game a lot quicker than this can.
Yes.
And when you're playing into a later game, it definitely plays into
will guide you.
Absolutely. And again, guys, this is a 3-deck no-ban format, so players will have to win with all 3 of their decks to earn that point for their team.
That's true. That's true. MENSOU coming into Statute Seraph. Nothing to do on turn 2 yet. No 2-drop, unfortunately. Potwasher, though, has the Storied Falconer, so it looks like Potwasher is going to be able to eke out some early damage here.
I like this. Just early good curve. And MENSOU doesn't have a Forbidden Ritual. Oh, actually, he does have a Forbidden Ritual in hand. He just drew it. Never mind.
Yep.
So actually has the perfect stuff.
Okay, yeah, he just in his turn now, and now he has the second City of Gold. That's going to be amazing.
I don't know if this is the type of deck that needs it, like we were saying before, but you know what? He has the option, so now he can kind of do whatever he wants with his deck.
He's got it open, yeah.
Yeah, so Forbidden Ritual in the hand is huge. You almost always want this against Dragon, Forest, sometimes against Blood, but not always necessary. Aggro Sword. There's a lot of aggro sword in Unlimited as well.
A lot of followers with less than 2 defense.
Yeah. So very strictly speaking, a City of Gold for free means you can just keep Forbidden Ritual in your hand now, and it's just a 3-drop banish all 2 or less followers.
Which is insanely strong.
Very good.
Okay, now Potwasher's going to have to think. Okay, the City of Gold is down.
Yes, and his first consideration is, does my opponent have a Forbidden Ritual? That's definitely a Potwasher thought. Again, you watch his stream. He will tell you what he's thinking about. He always thinks about pretty much the best lines first.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks like he is going to play around it. I like it. Knows it's an option. Says, I don't want my entire board to be removed.
Okay, now MENSOU, of course, has the Forbidden Ritual. I feel like that's probably just the best play here.
I still think you play it.
Fairies,
yeah, there's not really a consideration to hold on to it here, especially because you have Death Sentence to follow it up. You have Lorena as well to clear off multiple followers. So, options are pretty clean here. And honestly, if you're not playing Forbidden Ritual here, you're not doing anything. So, I definitely don't like doing nothing in Unlimited. Unlimited is definitely not a format where you pass turns and feel good about it. Unless you're playing a combo deck and you're winning like that next turn or something.
You don't want to get rid of the combo pieces in your hand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, MENSOU going to take some decent time here, just considering if he wants to play it or not. I mean, of course, he knows the lines better than me.
This is a difficult turn. I mean, it's the only Forbidden Ritual in his hand. That's such a key resource. It's only taking off 2 fairies. But if he doesn't do it, he's going to be taking 3 damage next turn. Plus, the Sky-Stride Raptor in the hand of Potwasher.
And this is not like a Tenko deck. There's not a ton of heal in this deck. There are the Healing Prayers. There are Lorenas. But outside of that, not a lot of healing in the deck. I guess Marwyn is heal. It's only 1, but it's still heal.
Yeah. But you also heal your opponent, too.
Yeah, I don't think that's a big consideration in a Seraph deck. Alright, so it looks like the Ritual will be played here. Yeah, Potwasher knew. He's like, that's why I played my 1-3, bro.
Yep, very nice.
Okay, and I think it's just time to pump up the jam. What I mean by that is I think you saw your opponent use a Forbidden Ritual, now you just fill up the board again. You go Fairy Whisperer, Fairy, Fairy.
Yep.
Call it a day.
May the forest be at peace.
Especially when you know your opponent's playing triple Death Sentence, and you know that's a likely follow-up play on curve.
Yep.
Fill it up. Alright, so now MENSOU has another board to deal with. That was a good option to draw here as well, but it looks like Marwyn Ramp is choice number 1.
Yep, get the heal, and then Potwasher will have 6 play points to play with next turn. 5.
That's true. So let's talk about what Marwyn does. So first of all, the Evo stats are just really nice. It's a good option to play. Becomes a 6/6 that gets a damage prevention shield, which says it cannot take more than 3 damage at a time, which means you have to run multiple things into it. However, Cassiopeia gets around that, which is very nice.
Oh, yeah.
The other things it does, heals both players for 1. Both players get a play point orb. So it ramps, it heals, and it gives itself a nice little absorption shield, and it removes 1 from the countdown of all amulets in play.
Yep, it allows you to get down something like a De La Fee much earlier. It allows you to get into the Seraph's turn. The Seraph turns a lot sooner as well. And a deck like Forestcraft that has its turns like very laid out, very planned, it kind of, I mean, obviously it excels the game of Forest Grump
Yes, it
very
does.
quickly, but I don't know, excels its own game as well.
The stars pale beside me.
All right, so it looks like Cassiopeia was just like the perfect option, right? Like you play it, Marwin's gone, you don't have to Evo over it, you don't even have to Evo face here, you can just save everything. What an awesome top deck here for Potwasher.
Yeah, Cassiopeia was insane.
Marwin also draws a card, forgot about that. Just throw
Yeah,
that
it
on
does.
top there, it replaces itself also.
It does, yeah.
Yep.
Does a lot. Does pretty much everything.
I am still so afraid to play Marwin just because of ramping my opponent, especially in a format where they could be playing Dark Beast Bat.
Oh, yeah.
When you ramp them, it costs the same again, right? It's like the same as it was before, so you're kind of speeding things up. I guess
Especially
a lot
into
of decks.
Dragoncraft. Oh,
Yeah,
my
Dragon
gosh.
too. You're speeding into Fortes against
Yeah.
Forest. You're speeding into Roach combo kills. Like,
Mhm.
it's such a scary card to use, and that's when you know a good player's behind a deck, when they're capable of playing a card like that and still feeling comfortable with it.
Oh, the Death Sentence did not get the Cassiopeia. That's fine. He's got the Lorena.
Probably going to go with the heal option here. Got plenty of removal in hand. Heal option also draws a card. Pretty good option for one. Heal 2, draw a card.
This is exactly what I didn't want.
Yep, Mensou's definitely staying alive as best he can. Potwasher's trying to find ways to eke in little bits of damage here and there.
Yeah, and it really just depends on how long he wants the game to go, because Potwasher does have, in hand now, put your opponent to 6 mechs. And he has a Raptor in hand, and he can put 2 more Raptors into his hand. So he has an endgame set up already over the course of 2 turns.
Sure.
But he knows he's playing against a Seraph deck. So maybe he doesn't want to allow that much time. He just wants to go for the throw.
Wants to get a little more followers here. Yes, you're right. So he can, if he saves an Evo point on, I guess it would be technically turn 10. Because on turn 9, technically, he played the Azuda, I guess.
Yep.
Because of the Marwin effect.
But it's a risk, right? Because if in Statue Seraph comes out on 8 play points, that could end the game immediately instead of you being allowed to go to turn 10, turn 11, or turn 9, turn 10, rather.
Yep. I feel like Lorena's not bad here.
I mean, Lorena's not bad. Death Sentence plus Black and Scripture is not bad. I mean, that's why I love this deck. It just
Does a lot of
City
things,
of
man.
Gold is so cool for Havencraft because you get to play with all of your cards like they actually do something
They actually
now.
do things,
Yeah.
It's like the gold candelabra.
Yeah. Yeah, Candelabra was a card people tried so hard to play with, but like the problem with that card was it cost 3, and you had to draw it.
And you had to draw it on 3,
Yeah.
It was like just as hard to play as Alana's, except you did not get as much out of it as Alana's.
I really feel like City of Gold gave Havencraft the class ability it's always been missing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be sad when it's gone. I know it just came out, but I'm going to be sad when it's gone.
In a year.
In a
however
year,
long,
yeah, because I like the identity it's given Havencraft. It's now saying, yes, you have amulets, but if you stall for a turn and you put some extra cards in your deck, you can actually play with those amulets on curve the way you want to. Just like there's a cost in every deck. You have a couple cards in your deck that give it, its meaning, and then they can kind of play it out.
City of Gold certainly finding the footing here.
Alright, so it looks like just fill up the board, push damage. That's the name of the game right now. Another Forbidden Ritual in the hand of Mensou, though, gives him another easy board wipe.
Yep, and he does have another City of Gold, so let's see. He could City of Gold, Forbidden Ritual, and then Morier to clear off the Raptor.
Seems pretty good. This seems like an easy board to second City of Gold into as well. You don't really have a lot of permanents you care about. As a matter of fact, I think you'd never really care about permanents and play with this deck. It's not like he's ever going to fill up.
Yeah.
But I think I like that play the most. Forbidden Ritual, second City, Moriai. Okay, Lorena's going to be the option instead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe just wants more heal.
Some more draw as well. He has a Seraph, and he has Healing Prayer, but no other ways to really reduce the cost of Seraph.
So the question might be, if you're new to the game, how do you beat this Seraph deck? This deck that can just control the board, play Seraph. Seraph's a card that, if it's in play for a few turns, will just win you the game. The way you beat that style of deck is you don't allow them to play in Statue Seraph. And what I mean by that is you keep pressuring the board so hard that they just don't have time to put an 8-drop in play that does nothing immediately.
Yep. And right there, Potwasher had Ooh, okay, nice. Draws in his Silver Bolt.
But do you play it hoping to win over 2 turns? So Silver Bolt draws you a card, then deals damage equal to the cards in your hand to your opponent. It's only 6 right now, which isn't even half of Mensou's defense total. So
But I
probably
think-
not the option.
What can Potwasher do this turn to delay enough so that he can play Azudia?
I think
and then
he
play
needs
Silver Bolt?
to play Metera, play Raptor, and Evo Face.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That way he has 2 threats. Almost lethal damage in play. Well, I guess one of them will get removed by the Moriai.
Yeah.
But he will get 4 damage in this turn, and if Moriai only destroys one of them, then 4 damage will be left over after he's at 9, which is a lethal with a Silver Bolt. And yeah, looks like that will be the play.
Some fun.
And I like the little brambles added on there just to fill up the hand a little bit more for Silver Bolt. Yeah, I think this turn is exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, not bad. Draws a second Seraph. Themis Decree, Death Sentence. These can all work for Mensou, but is that the best possible thing?
I think this is just kind of a 1-2 punch here for Potwasher. If Seraph is played, he wins with Silver Bolt. If Seraph is not played, he wins with Omen plus Silver Bolt.
Yep.
I think it's game. Forestcraft,
think so,
the
man.
natural enemy of Havencraft,
Yeah.
does not disappoint, even in its slower version. Now, of course, we saw Potwasher draw his one of Omen very early in the game, and it is going to come in to win him this game. No White Wolf needed to tutor it out of his deck. As a matter of fact, if White Wolf was ever the play, it might not have gotten the chance to tutor for anything because there is Banish on the side of Haven.
I think Mensou might just have to play this turn like Potwasher doesn't have Azudia, doesn't have Silver Bolt.
I think that's the only option.
Because Mensou knows,
yeah.
okay, there's 2 fairies in his hand. There's only 3 cards. I got to play to these odds.
Yeah, because if you keep playing the slow game, you give Potwasher the option to play into even a White Wolf next turn. And,
Sure,
and you're still threatening lethal. And then if you destroy that, you're giving them
Absolutely.
another chance for lethal.
Yeah, I think Mensou has to throw down the Seraph.
Yep, I agree. I think another option, if any, would be Themis plus Healing Prayer. Or Death Sentence plus Healing Prayer. But if you use the Healing Prayer, you don't have the pops on the Seraph, so he's just going to go for it. We're going to see Omen come down, and that's just going to end things in 2 turns here. I don't think Mensou can do anything about this.
Healing is not going to help Mensou now.
Not anymore. So the Omen doesn't just put your opponent to 6, it makes their max defense 6.
Yep.
So you cannot heal back above it. So now there is a hard line here for Potwasher.
I guess he's going for the draw.
Yeah, needs to find something.
Globe could still find him something. Again.
Yeah, just wiping and hoping it's not over. But of course we know Silver Bolt is in hand. And even without the Fairy Circle, 6 cards in hand to win the game. He just did a quick count.
Yep, just made sure.
Just made sure. So Potwasher going to go up 1-0 in the series, winning with his White Wolf, Silver Bolt, Omen of Unkilling, Roachless Forestcraft deck.
Yep, winning against one of the strongest decks in Unlimited.
Yep.
Bringing a deck that, you know, is still being tested. In a way,
This
it's,
is why I kind of like the Aegis version better. Like, it's a little bit more tempo-oriented instead of, like, honestly, and it's kind of like my whole view towards Swordcraft and rotation for the longest time. I've never been a fan of Seraph, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for that.
Sure.
Because of that simple effect. If your opponent knows how to play against it, and it could be with any deck, they just produce something to the board that can threaten lethal, and you can't ever play your winning card. I don't like that. Aegis has a similar problem, except for the fact that if you have an Evo point left over, you can get it into the game and do something.
Sure, sure.
Anyway, let's get into our next game here. So let's see what Potwasher decides to bring up next against Mensou.
It could be, I mean, either one. I mean, Potwasher still has mid-sword and what he calls mid-range bloodcraft.
It's still Dark Beast Bad Blood. It's the same deck with better cards in it. Yeah, you can call it mid whatever. It's still Dark Beast Bad Blood.
This is looking like Dark Feast to me.
Yeah, it's got Valnyrex, it's got Floros, it's got self-damage.
He is throwing in the Demonic Ram, which is nice. He's got 2 of those. So nice heal option over, you know, in the later turns where you can play Demonic Ram along with Razor Claws and other things like that.
it's kind of one of the considerations I've seen with decks. It's either Mask of Black Death or Demonic Ram. Demonic Ram is a little bit more on the offensive side. It lets you play to the board and curve out a little bit earlier. You can also get some really good heal against, you know, opponents that you need heal. I do think Dragon is very decent in this matchup. It's one of the matchups that can just push so much damage that Blood can't really get to their end game. But looking at the opening hands, Potwasher going first has a decent hand. Has nice removal, has card draw, has heal. MENSOU does not have an active 1-drop, and what I mean by that is a Goblin, but probably still will play one of these.
Probably still has to throw down the Disciple. I mean, it's going to be... could be a free bit of damage. I mean, Potwasher can clear it out with the Snarling Chain, but I don't
think he's perfectly fine with that. Yeah, Demonic Ram into this is just fine.
Demonic Ram Restless Perish is amazing.
You can heal back up. He might save it for Floros. Floros procs are very important in this deck. Like, he plays it mid-rangey, which means he is going to play to the middle game where he wants to proc a lot of Floros, especially against Dragon.
Ooh, nice. MENSOU has Ivory Dragon.
Yeah.
Not bad.
The Dragon Goblin.
The Dragon Goblin, yeah.
Dragon Goblin. You know what? Psy Games, Dragon Goblin. We need it as a card.
Need a reprint, yep.
That's right. We need to mix the two cards together. Dragon Goblin.
Just for Dragon Crown. Nobody else gets the Dragon.
Nobody else gets it. All right, so putting the ward down to protect the 1-drop. I really like this play. You're probably not going to get, you know, that much use out of holding 2 Poseidons against Blood.
Sure.
I like this. Get the heal back up. This is why I really like Demonic Ram in the early game over Mask of Black Death, just because you get so much more use out of it against other decks that are trying to play to the board, and against control decks because you get a 2-drop.
Let's see, MENSOU can go Poseidon and then Disciple.
This is not a very good draw from MENSOU here. He has things to do, but he's not progressing an aggressive game plan. This Storm Dragon deck is an aggro deck. So just like we were talking about in the Take 2 matchup, this is a deck that needs to play to the board and needs to keep consistent damage coming from its early followers, and right now has not been given that chance. Because how does it win? It ends the game with big Storm followers and just tries to bash you out of the game. Yeah, big dudes that can attack the turn they come into play.
Unanswerable damage. I think what MENSOU has to do is just, Poseidon gets him ward, try to stave off some damage.
Yeah, but if this next Poseidon gets met with a 3 damage effect too, it's going to feel really bad. I don't like any of the plays for MENSOU this turn. I think I would lead with Ivory Dragon into Disciple, actually, just to get some card draw going. However, MENSOU might want to save the Disciple for Galmu. However, Galmu was one of those other cards that got adjusted recently, so you don't get 2 pings in the same turn off of Galmu. Makes holding Disciples and self-damage for it not as important.
Let's teach you how powerful.
Okay, so going with what I was talking about, just getting some card draw in.
Okay, just the best possible turn available to MENSOU. Potwasher comes into the blood-fed flower bed on turn 4. That's not too bad, especially considering he can leave the Demonic Ram up this turn if he wants to.
I think that's probably a proper choice. It just makes the rest of his turn very awkward. Okay, pulls are in. And yeah, like I was thinking, Potwasher 60-40, so not as heavily favored as CRUMSION was.
But still, like, I mean, HISHIRO had 38%, MENSOU's got 40%.
Very close.
Very, very close.
Very close. So we'll see if MENSOU can prove everyone in the chat wrong again, just like HISHIRO did. Again, I think after this weekend, going into the next weeks that we have, these polls are going to get a little bit closer.
Oh, yeah, just
as people recognize how good these players really are. I don't really like this turn from Potwasher either. So if he goes blood-fed this turn, does he just claw face? I mean, that feels super awkward. He needs card draw from this Restless Parish. He does have board wipe in the Evil Eye Demon, so I mean, yeah, maybe blood-fed plus Razor Claw face, but then he doesn't have the procs for next turn, so that feels really weird.
I don't know. This is still a difficult turn, but difficult in the different way from MENSOU's turn. Potwasher's got plenty of great things to do.
Okay, just the Floros just wants to put the body in play, so wants to save enough self-damage in hand to proc Floros. We'll play a Floros now. This one's kind of a bit wasted because no healing is going to get done off of it, but it will trade to the board a little bit better.
And Ayala can just trade into it as well for MENSOU. That doesn't feel too bad. Potwasher's already at 20 defense of Floros. Yeah, just kind of another follower that MENSOU's going to be trading into.
Yeah, I like Ayala and Feline here. You evolve the Ayala, just play Feline to get a Whisper in hand. You can trade one of your 1/1s into the Ram and then go face for 1. Pretty clear-cut turn. Ooh,
Interesting. Okay.
So is he going to try to just keep everything in play? He is. Okay. So instead, he's just going to go for a board fill option and maybe even force an Evil Eye Demon next turn. Maybe that's his option.
Not a bad choice, actually. That was a really good choice.
I don't know, though. Forcing an Evil Eye Demon means your board goes away, and you don't really have a good turn 5 into it. Galmu into a 5/4 is nothing.
Yeah, it is. But he does have Ayala to trade into the 5/4. Maybe he's thinking that.
That's true. That is true. And that will ramp him to 7, which gets him to the Galmu into the Poseidon turns. Very true. All right, so it looks like Potwasher is going to go for the proc this turn instead. I like the play.
Yep, not bad. It's going to be able to invocate Floros out of his deck. I like that. Invocate.
I think it's just invoke.
Invoke.
Yeah. Invocate.
Invocate is not a word.
Invocate.
That's probably a word.
Maybe. I mean, to be honest,
You did not convince me.
Words are just words. You know what I mean? As long as you understand what somebody's saying, it's a word.
All words are made up.
Yeah, they're all made up.
Every single
literally.
word's made up.
Yeah.
That's a made-up word. Yes.
That's not a word. Well, I just made it, so
yes,
it is a word.
That's a made-up word. Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Yes, it is. That's fair. All right, so as we were talking about, I think Ayala is still the strongest choice, and now he gets an even better choice as he gets to add Feline to it as well, just to fill out his curve. I like it a lot. Maybe other plans, but I don't really see... I mean, Galmu is a terrible play this turn. Poseidon feels really rough this turn as well. But if you notice, without Potwasher doing very much, he's gotten 7 damage in this game.
Yeah.
Playing defensively. Has just blocked the Floros now, so we'll heal up. Has a lot of self-damage going. Says this isn't a Dark Feast Bat deck. How is he winning this game without Dark Feast Bat?
I don't know, man. I don't
Potwasher.
I don't see it,
I know you can win without Dark Feast Bat, absolutely. But this is still a Dark Feast Bat deck.
Ooh.
Oh my god, what a double draw.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
While we were talking, I saw a little smirk on Potwasher's face.
Of course, you can't not smirk after top decking something like this. So Vera, damage prevention shield. He will take no damage this turn. Also draws an effect that was supposed to deal 6 to him. And at the beginning of every turn, heals him for 2 and draws him an extra card. What the perfect combination to happen right there. Unbelievable.
Forte's.
You can't. That's I'm speechless off of that draw. That is insanity. And he doesn't take damage off the blood fed that turn either. Now you just have to Eva over this, which is really nice. You get the damage in. I like the ordering. But now you have 1 turn to win, essentially.
Pretty much. Dark Feast Bat is at 7.
Now Potwasher still has to top deck something. Okay. You can't play those. You can't play at least the Dire Bond.
Alexandrite, okay.
But can't play the Wings of Lust on the Alexandrite.
I can't.
One play point too shy here. So what's going to happen this turn is Potwasher's going to go to 8. He's going to be able to destroy the Galmu. There's 3 damage left in play for MENSOU, and he has a Forte in hand for 5 more. So I don't think there's a way for Potwasher out of this. Got one of the best top decks he can ever get. Well, actually, never mind. I speak too fast. No, he can't play card draw and get another Vera this turn. I think the game is just over. There's no way to actually clear off any of the 1/1s.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
And there's no way to heal.
And he's going to take 1 damage from the...
So the only way he had to win this turn was he needed to get... No, he couldn't even have done that. I was going to say he needed to get the removal option, Ruby, but he didn't have the play points for
Yeah, he
that.
only had 5 play points.
That's right. So, yep. No way to stay alive. Potwasher knows it.
Damage. Wow. Oh my gosh. That was a great game.
That was
a tough
closer
game.
than you guys think.
Yeah.
1 extra removal spell this game, and Potwasher wins this one.
1 point of damage is basically what that came down to, yeah. Oh my god.
All right, going into a game 3. So MENSOU's going to tie things up playing what I think is probably, in my opinion, one of the top 3 decks in Unlimited right now.
Easily.
If
Easily
not one of,
top 3.
if not the best. It's just very consistent, very good. You even saw MENSOU not have a great draw there, but it can help itself. As you saw, you just play a couple 1-drops, you get to draw some cards, filter. You're still putting stuff on the board. And then these 6-drops and 5-drops and 7-drops in the deck are just so friggin' strong.
That's the thing about Unlimited. There's so many different ways you can play these decks. MENSOU can throw in Prime Dragon Keeper in his list, and it's now it's a PDK deck.
Yeah, sure.
Potwasher can throw in Mask of Black Death, and suddenly, oh, now it's a Control Blood deck,
Yeah.
or Revelation.
Exactly.
This is insane.
Yeah, there's so many things. Look at another one of these sweet World Circuit champions. We only said there were 3. Turns out, we've got a couple of them here.
Got a couple of them here. Do we have? No, we got 2 of them. Yeah, we got 2.
We've got 2 of them. It's okay. We can live with 2.
I can live with 2. 2 out of 3 is pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so just deciding what decks they want to line up next. So let's see here. So if Potwasher does decide, well, you know what? I think he has to go with Blood again. I don't think he can take the chance that his Shadow deck meets the Haven deck.
Or meets a mirror, and then like suddenly you're
That's fair.
a massive foot behind and into a mirror match. I think. Yeah.
And I do believe both players are playing standard unlimited mid Shadow, which means they're playing to the board, they're playing Ektars, they're playing all of the good things that you would expect from the deck. They're not playing any Atomy craziness, which I'm very sad about, but it's okay.
People don't like to high roll, man.
They don't like to high, and these players don't. I think it's one of those things. I talked about it a lot in the early days of the Open. If you think that your opponent is more skill capped than you are, then you play a high roll deck so you have a chance to beat them. If you believe you're one of the best players in the world and or are at least evenly skill matched with your opponent, play good decks. Play decks that are consistent. Yeah. All right, so it looks like Potwasher did take the chance, and he did run into the Havencraft deck. So why does Shadowcraft not like Havencraft? Because Havencraft has Banish, and Shadow is built on using Last Word effects, which is when followers just die and are not banished, they gain effects, as well as using Shadows, which you gain when followers or cards are played, die, and not banished.
So a lot of crucial resources are denied to Shadowcraft by
Correct.
Havencraft, and even more so, a lot of Shadowcraft's early turns kind of affect the board. Try to destroy followers with Lurching Corpse and things like that. And Havencraft is doing the same thing. It's kind of fine with that, and that just plays into the later game when Statute Seraph comes down, and even when Ectors are coming down, and if they're pushing damage, it's just answered right back by Havencraft.
So what this matchup really comes down to is Shadow Equity or Shadow Denial, depending on how you want to look at it.
Shadow Equity.
Yeah, so
That's
essentially
nice.
how much can you build into a mid-game that says, I'm Shadowcraft, I'm going to fill the board. And then Havencraft has to have the answer, and they're going to go through this mid-game battle of, can Shadow keep producing a board? Can Havencraft keep clearing the board? If Shadow is ever left with a board, the game gets very easy because then Ektar turns on, and then, but sometimes you have to use Ektar to fill the board, so there's a trade-off there. And then it comes down to the same game plan we talked about earlier. Can Shadow keep doing it so that in Statute Seraph can never hit play? Or will it run out of gas, not be able to fill up the board, Seraph comes down, and then the game's over for Seraph?
Potwasher plays the Demon Eater there instead of the Lady Grey. If you're asking yourself, why would he play the 1-2 instead of the 1-3? Lady Grey's got a really strong Evolve effect.
Wants bodies, and yeah,
Wants bodies.
definitely wants to use the Evolve ability on Lady Grey. The card draw is important, but keeping things on the board even more important, and Black and Scripture a lot better to be used against this 1-2 than against Lady Grey.
Sure. Lurching Corpse is not a bad pickup. Gives him
I love
something
it here.
to do this turn.
I love it here. It means that Snow White's not going to get like super good use this turn. I like the fact that MENSOU decided to add this to his deck. Snow White is not a card that you see in all of the unlimited, at least most that I've seen,
You're right.
unlimited Havencraft decks, but really wants a way to fight early to the board, which I like. He's like, you know what? I'm not self-reliant on City of Gold. Sometimes I'll play my little Snow White.
It's interesting because, yeah, you're right. It gives him something to do on turn 2. He's not entirely, every single game you're not mulliganing, trying to get,
And it makes sense for this hand. He doesn't have anything he really needs to reduce the Amulet countdown from until turn 4, so it could just be next turn he passes and gets the City of Gold.
Sure.
Some flexibility here.
Our plays Moriai. Tries to get some more card draw as well, but I feel like, yeah, City of Gold next turn might be great. But Potwasher's really giving this turn some serious thought.
Yeah, I think it will end up being the Lurching Corpse. It's just harder to deal with. It's better for you if that one gets banished than something like the Lady Grey. And it sets up really nicely because it can't be attacked into realistically from the Snow White profitably, and it sets up for a better Prince Catacomb. But either of these followers don't proc from Snow White, so Prince Catacombs could be pretty good on turn 4.
And no direct removal available to MENSOU. Still not the third healing prayer.
Yeah,
Oh my
has
gosh.
healing. Definitely has the healing on lock. Healing not as amazing against Shadow just because it's a mid-range take over the game type of deck, not like a do damage over time type of thing. I mean, I guess it does, but it spikes you in big portions of damage late in the game.
Right. This is a really strong Prince Catacomb turn, but now that MENSOU has the City of Gold and active.
Yeah, of course there's the thought, you know, does he have, you know, the Forbidden Ritual, and I think Potwasher is playing to that effect. I'm going to get some use out of my cards before a Forbidden Ritual can come down.
Sure, sure.
But, as is the case, no Forbidden Ritual in MENSOU's hand, so board a little bit harder to deal with here. Alexiel, I don't think very good against Shadowcraft.
Yeah, not the best.
Yeah, everything kind of skirts under the 4 damage rule.
Yeah. Bunch of 1/1s bumped up by Hector.
Yeah. Good times. Good times had by all. I like how Cerberus is now just the ubiquitous 5-drop. Like, old Cerberus has been overtaken by new Cerberus.
Yeah, that is funny. I guess, yeah, getting more followers on board, turns out.
Yeah, Mimi and Coco in play, better than Mimi and Coco in hand.
Mimi and Coco in the play is better than Mimi and Coco in the hand. I was trying to make some play on words, but like, burn in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
you just said the same thing as me?
Yeah,
okay. That's okay. You know what? Words are hard. We've been talking about it all
Come
day.
back to me. Come back to me in a couple minutes. I'll have one ready for you. Yeah.
I like that. It's like deep cut. You can't see his face, but I'm looking right at him. He's like deep in thought, and he's looking at me, and then he just repeats what I say, and I'm like, yes, true.
Very good.
Very good, yes.
Much casting.
Clever man. Much casting. That's very such wow. All right, so Potwasher here in the tank. What does he do here? Cerberus always feels good, but technically that is a board fill option, so it's not something you necessarily want to do when you already have a board. So maybe the option is a Skull Ring here instead. Fill up the board with more incentive to use a board clear. But this is the turn before Themis' Decree, which means a big board wipe if Forbidden Ritual wasn't in the hand.
Right.
Probably isn't in the hand this turn either.
And MENSOU didn't play Forbidden Ritual last turn, which means Potwasher is thinking, maybe he doesn't have Forbidden Ritual. Maybe I've got one more card chance of draw to try to establish a strong board here before Themis.
That's right.
Yeah, I think Cerberus Evolve is just kind of
Cerberus Evolve is fine. I don't think you need to evolve Cerberus in this matchup, though. I don't think the pinging on your followers matters too much. Interesting. Is he going to go... He's going to trade before Cerberus. No Evo.
Maybe it's just not Evo.
Okay. All right. So Moriai is popping also. Another incentive not to Evo. The heal 2 didn't do anything. So nice little Moriai there.
Starting off the turn with the globe. Gets a death sentence.
I think trade death sentence feels pretty good here. Again, damage does not matter for MENSOU. His followers are not in the deck to deal damage. They're in the deck to be defensive.
Sure. Craft doing what it does best, man.
Yep. So now it's on Potwasher. This is where the mid-game begins. Fill board, and hope opponent does not have board answers for every single board fill he has. Drawing into another Cerberus, very good right here.
Absolutely, can just throw that down and hoping to extract some resources out of MENSOU's hand in a dangerous way. That's what Potwasher wants. Evoing face here is very risky.
Yeah. Basically says you better have the Themis, and Death Sentence isn't going to be good enough. Fortunately for MENSOU, he has the Themis.
He's got the Themis.
Yeah.
He's fine. We're good.
And I think Themis will be used here. Is there any way to not play it this turn?
He's got Death Sentence, and
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. I think Themis is for sure happening, which means 2 extra damage to MENSOU's face, puts him to 10. And then using the Evo face feels really weird to me now, actually, from Potwasher, because it means that he doesn't have the extra Evo for possible future Lady Greys.
Sure.
So, like, this turn I feel like is a really good Skull Ring Lady Grey turn, and then he's out of Evos if he wants to fill the board with Lady Grey. So I don't know if the extra 2 damage was worth giving up some utility going into this late game.
Right.
Now, of course, MENSOU doesn't have his endgame ready. I mean, he has the Amulet removal, so if he gets Seraph, it will end the turn after he plays it if these healing prayers stay in hand. And he has some decent removal here. He's got the Death Sentence, he's got more card draw and Globe, he's got the Alexiel for next turn if he just wants to slap down a big ward.
Yeah, but he's at 10 defense. I mean, that's really, really dangerous
It's
territory.
low,
for
but I
Shadow.
don't think Aisha is in the deck.
No, it's not.
For
Aisha's
Shadow.
not in the deck.
So I don't think there's any end game without actually filling the board. So here we go. Like I said, sometimes you have to use Ektar to fill the board. And this is actually a perfect time to do it because MENSOU does not have another Themis immediately. Uh-oh.
He does not. He has De La Fee.
De La Fee, not quite the same.
Not the best. I think this might just be... This might just be game. Okay, so what's the
Not
best?
game. He can De La Fee
Okay.
plus heal with the Lorena's Holy Water.
But then Potwasher just has another Ektar and an Evo point.
He does, but this is 3 heal plus a ward plus Ektar gone. So I guess let's do the math, right? So, I mean, I guess he could double Healing Prayer this turn as well. I think that's worse, though. No, it's not worse because the board's full. If he heals, then there's no lethal potential. 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, Evo 15. He'd have to double heal, and there's no potential loss. However, he didn't deal with the board.
Right. And
So-
then it doesn't have a way to end the game next turn.
Right. So I think De La Fee, if you go back up to 13, 15 here, you take out the Ektar, and then you allow for 4. That's 16 damage. Never mind. Yeah. I think this is the most proactive play, but it is losing.
Really heads up play there from Potwasher, playing down the Ektar just to use every
That's the
single
game.
Shadow fill the board. That's how Shadow plays these games, man.
That's right. Fill the board. You can't answer it. All right. I'm coming.
I'm coming for you, man. And that is Potwasher going up 2-0 in the series.
2-1.
2-1, excuse me.
2-1.
2-1, excuse me.
That's right. So MENSOU's got 1 game under his belt with his Dragon deck, and now Potwasher has to find a win with Bloodcraft. And you know what? He's got to do it against Havencraft, which seems fine. He's got to do it against Shadow. Shadow's really tough, I think, for Blood, especially in Unlimited, just because they have a lot better board fill.
Shadow's tough for anybody, man.
It is. However, I think the crux is going to be this Havencraft deck. I think Seraph's a little bit too slow to do anything against Potwasher's decks. I think Potwasher is playing 3 decks that have a good shot against Seraph. I think, honestly, again, Seraph, just one of those cards I wouldn't put a lot of weight into. However, training week. This is where the players need to start training and selecting the decks they want to start, pairing up. Of course, things can change once the mini expansion comes.
That's a huge consideration as well, the mini expansion. This is the training is figuring out which archetypes are you most comfortable
What am I comfortable with?
Yeah.
What types of games do I want to be playing? Do I want to be playing slow late game decks? Do I want to be playing aggro decks? Things like that. And I think these are really good. This is a really good competition to help them kind of figure those things out.
Yep. Absolutely. Match point here for Potwasher. Has to win against Shadow with his Dark Feast Bat mid-range Bloodcraft deck.
I'll teach you
I'm just gonna call it Dark Feast.
It's mid-range control Dark Feast Bat aggro self-damage Bloodcraft deck.
Yes.
With card draw. I forgot card draw.
And card draw as well.
Yeah, card draw. Yeah.
We'll put that in the pit for you.
Yeah, combo also.
Combo. With Demonic Ram, yeah, there's
And
combo
it's got
in there.
Invocation combo too.
Yeah. Invocation, Demonic Ram combo. Invocation plus Demonic Ram combo.
Yes.
You damage yourself, heal, and then invoke the Floros. I'm sticking with Invocate.
Invocation. There we go. Any which way you say it, Floros is a good card. And all of the intrinsic synergies in the deck work very well. That's why it has become one of the mainstays in both formats at the moment.
Has been adjusted. You can only invocate it after turn 3. On or after turn 3.
Yeah, on or after turn 3. It actually blocked me one turn. I was so confused because I didn't know the adjustment happened specifically to Floros. I just played the next day without thinking that the adjustments happened. Right.
Just playing your games.
My opponent played his turn 1 Disciple, and I'm like, ooh baby, on turn 2, I've got my Snarling Chains into 0/0 drop.
It's gonna be a spicy play.
Yeah, and then I did it, and I'm like, where's my Floros?
Where's my
what happened? Floros? Bug?
The
actually,
gods of Shadowverse just decided that moment.
I actually Discord called Gengar, and I'm like, Gengar, what the heck, man? I showed him a replay of my game, and he's like, are you dumb? He's like, did you not know Floros got changed? I did.
That's amazing.
I'm like, yo, Gengar, what's going on, man? I need somebody high level to tell me what's going on right now.
Message to call the pro player.
Yeah. Turns out all I needed was some 3-year-old to be like, it doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work. Read the card.
Read the freaking card, man.
That's amazing.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I couldn't because it wasn't in my hand, right? Because it got to be in. So I couldn't technically read the card.
That's right. You couldn't just click on it. What the heck?
Yeah.
I feel you.
Anyway, back to this game. Potwasher gets an early Dire Bond down now, so able to take that 6 damage, especially with the Ram in play, getting that card selection going early.
MENSOU does have Anime in his deck. I believe it's just a 1-of, if I remember correctly.
Okay. I like the spice. Turns
Pretty
out
good.
he's going to be able to put it into play this turn. And you do.
I think you do.
Because it's Atomy, and when you can Atomy, you Atomy.
In the Bloodcraft. Not a whole lot to do on turn 4 to get rid of that.
So never mind. I'm actually super happy right now. I did not know MENSOU threw an Atomy into his deck.
Just 1, too. Got it on turn 3.
Hey, you know what? Believe in it. If you're playing Skull Ring, I almost feel like you're doing yourself a disservice not to be just throwing an Atomy in your deck.
Exactly.
Because this happens on turn 3. All you need is a 2-drop into a Skull Ring, and you've got an Atomy.
You just need a 2-drop to live.
And it pops something back out.
Yeah.
Of the Skull Ring.
Pops the 2-drop back out.
It's great.
Ambling Wraith.
Yeah,
a lot of
Ambling Wraith.
1-drops.
A lot of 1-drops in this deck. You want to consistently proc your Floros in Unlimited. You want to do it in rotation too, but in Unlimited you have more choices.
That's true.
And this feels like a pretty bad turn for Potwasher. He's got no way to deal with this?
No way. Well, let's see. So
no, he can. He's got Razor Claw, right? This new art always messes with me.
So he's got Razor Claw, but there's no Evo point. I mean, he's on the play.
That's true. Yeah, there's no way to deal with this. He's going to get the Ruby just so he can clear it next turn, and he's going to clear off as much damage as he possibly can.
I didn't realize that the animations actually changed with the reprinted Razor Claw. That's awesome.
All right, so 8 damage to the dome piece here, at least. Maybe Evo 10. I don't think so. I think Lady Grey's a little bit stronger to Evo this turn.
Yeah, Lady Grey's stronger. Your opponent just played Alexandrite.
Plus, you get another Lady Grey back. Feels pretty good. Lady Grey and the Lady Grey chaining feels nice. It feels really good. If you guys haven't done it, you should try it sometime.
Lady Grey and Lady Grey, man. It's a...
That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
It's only 2-drop that died. There we go. Face.
Oh my gosh.
What do? You spend your entire turn clearing that Atomy, and then you're probably Evoing over the Lady Grey, and allowing another Lady Grey to Evo you in the face.
Evo you face. To get
another Lady Grey.
Grey.
Yeah. This is a nice little chain here. This is Reanimate Shadow without, you know, stuff in your deck with all those, you know, silly Reanimate cards.
The daisy chain of Lady Greys.
That's right. What is a daisy chain? Is
Daisy
that just
chain
a flower bed that, you know, a bunch of daisies?
Well, daisy chain is technically, it's like a wreath of flowers that you've made. But that word has been used, you can use it to say like, oh, look at all those power strips that have now been like daisy chained together. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, but it's originally a wreath.
Yes, that's my belief. That's my understanding.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
See, learn new things here on the Shadowverse Open every week.
Basically a bunch of daisies that have been like tied together to form a little.
That makes sense. Maybe not even necessarily. Yeah, okay. Never mind. I'm not going to go any deeper into it. So here we go. It looks like MENSOU might, you know,
might be having some connection
issues. Oh,
issues.
he's back. Camera not, though. That might take a second to get back as well. But fills the board. Does what we were talking. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Everything did happen on his turn. Okay. Yeah, so going into this turn, Potwasher, I feel like, had the option of getting the Ruby into his hand. I think that's the best way to deal with this 8-8. I
think it's like the only way.
Let's see. He can Vera. Yeah, there's no extra damage in hand. You've got to do it.
Damage,
yeah, so basically just the play I was talking about. I think you have to do this, and I think you have to Evo over the 3-3 Lady Grey. But no. Just going to trade and accept it. Never mind. He's got the Ambling Wraith to Evo. Okay.
Nice.
This will work as well.
Takes an extra point of damage, though, with that Ambling Wraith.
Gotta do it.
I guess.
Gotta do it.
He didn't have to do it.
Got to do it.
All right, okay.
And I don't think this is an easy hand to proc Floros, so Restless Parish becomes a card that he can play this turn, unless he wants to save it for a Vera turn so that he can basically get the heal option off of Restless Parish next turn.
And I like trading the Ambling Wraith into the 1-3 Lady Grey. I think that was a pretty nice choice.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so we're hoping this isn't a full DC here. Of course, this is a training day, so I think we will replay. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we will replay this game if it happens. Okay, so connection back. Let's see if he goes. All right, but yeah, okay, so the Evo over the 1-3 is saying, you know what, I have dealt with the big threat And I do have healing coming next turn in the form of Restless Parish plus Vera. So I kind of like it. All right, so evoing the Cerberus. So why evo the Cerberus? It does help against cards like Evil Eye Demon, because if you evo it, a lot of damage will get hit onto that Evil Eye Demon, making it easier to deal with. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a full 4 damage. POTWASHER also does not have Evil Eye Demon just yet. So I think the Vera heal is going to have to be the play this turn. I think Vera heal, and you can get a Blood Pact in, or you can just double heal if you want to go crazy with the Restless Parishes.
Not bad.
Let's see what he decides to do here. Blood Pact will be the play.
You can still Madness Revealed.
Ooh, he can get the Floros out this turn, too. Does he have room?
He can get the Floros, but he's going to have to either... He's not going to get healing if he does that. Well, the Floros gets healing, but...
So, okay, so he's self-damaged only once. That's right. So if he does... He didn't get another 0 drop.
He'd have to Ambling Wraith and then Restless Parish.
Yeah. Or Blood Fed.
I don't think you can afford to Flower Bed. Not this late, not when you're at 10 defense.
It's true. This is a rough end of turn. I mean, we can see it on POTWASHER's face, too. This is tough. Okay, so let's see. It looks like he is going to go for Madness Revealed here. I can't see playing a Knight's Fall. I don't think that's going to do enough here.
Couple Force Bats versus 8 healing in this situation. I think you got to go for the Madness.
Yep.
8 healing next turn.
Is he doing it twice? No, just regular Restless Parish. That's right. His play points are now gone. All right, so that also... Yeah, okay. So
that was for, yeah, nice.
The Floros did proc. Did something else? What did we miss? 1, 2...
Yeah, I guess we missed something.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, that's right. Self-damage because MENSOU's card damages him when it dies. That's right. That's right. So very well executed. That's a play I didn't even see off the top of my head there.
Yeah, pretty great.
From POTWASHER, so good thing. So basically got 8 heal down, got card draw down, got a 4/4 with a damage shield on it, himself with a damage shield on it, and an extra Floros in play for his trouble.
Yeah, if MENSOU wants to deal with this Vira, he's... Let's see, Fringe, that's just 4 damage, and then he might just have to trade the Cerberus into it in the next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very hard card to deal with because it prevents the first 2 damage you deal to it from any source. It means you can't just pile damage on. You need to do it strategically. You need to hit it very hard once, and then you can hit it for a little bit less the next time, but then you're losing a ton of value.
No, not yet.
Oh, no.
All right.
Looks like that was
a
disconnect.
DC. Okay. So it looks like time constraints being what they are. Turns out we are not going to finish that out. But that does mean POTWASHER is going to win that game. We don't really know who was going to win that game from that point on anyway. POTWASHER was about to go back up to 20, essentially. And
it could have been a much longer game, but I think that is gonna be 3 wins for POTWASHER.
Okay, so POTWASHER up 3-1 against MENSOU. As a matter of fact, I think when you go to a late game like that without any more healing from Shadow, I mean, I'm not going to say, one way or the other who was going to win. But I think Blood going back up to 20 with a lot of card draw, it bodes well for both players. Who knows who's going to win.
Still, I mean, really well played from MENSOU, of course.
Very well played.
Of course, expected nothing less. I mean, his Haven Craft list, I think, was really solid. Might need a little bit more tweaking, though.
I think very specifically the core of the deck is amazing. Like the whole engine of City of Gold with removal package. I don't think Seraph is where you need to be when you're playing against the top competitors in the world.
Sure.
Because they understand that tempo play. They understand if I don't allow him to play it, I win the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what deck you're playing at that point.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see. Our Twitter poll is up for the next match. It's going to be SPRAYQUAZA versus ESSIA in rotation. That's going to be... I mean, I love how today is just like one new thing after another. Now we've got to completely switch our mindsets. I mean, this is a whole new game now. Whole new ball game.
Absolutely, and I think this vote's going to be a little bit closer. Both these players very well known. Both these players very good. Both of these players qualified off the winner's side of the Contenders Cup. Just very strong performances from both. Both players now a part of Team Space Station Gaming, of course, for SPRAYQUAZA, and Tempo Storm now for ESSIA, recently acquired. He's a new boy for Tempo Storm.
Good for him. Good for him.
First European player as well, outside of course, CRUMSION and POTWASHER. So Good stuff. These
Very
are
great.
two great competitors.
Two amazing competitors, and in rotation, we know that SPRAYQUAZA likes Swordcraft, but of course, no players today have brought Swordcraft.
Yeah, there's a good reason for that. Swordcraft finally.
This is just...
Yeah, I mean, Arthur turning to 8 was a huge loss. When you have to make a choice between Skyfortress, Arthur, and or card, 8-drop, best deck, Latham, best card in the deck.
Best card in the deck.
Latham,
Come on.
if you have to make a choice between all 3 of your best cards at the same spot on the curve, it's just too slow.
It's too slow,
You need it to be on 7. Even when Dark Feast Bat went to 8, you don't have the 7 to pressure before the bat. You have to play it on the same turn. They can play the bat. You're still losing at the same time.
Swordcraft lost a lot more by having Arthur be 8 cost than Bloodcraft did by having the Dark Beast Bat be 8 cost.
Absolutely, and I think that was the only change that really made it really hard to play Sword. And I think people have been trying to rally with Loot Sword, playing all of the loot cards, but it's like a value deck, like kind of like it used to be. It doesn't have any powerful.
Yeah, it still has the same problem.
things
What do you do
going.
on turn 6? What do you do on turn 7?
Turn 7 is the big question right now for
Sure.
Swordcraft. What do you do?
And even before, like, yeah, you had Zeta, yeah, you had the Apostle on turn 6 with the loot card. Like, that was a good combo.
Sure.
But it's still, like, even in the Contenders Cup especially, turn 6 was a really weak turn for Swordcraft.
Yeah, turn 6 was a weak turn. Turns out it's still a weak turn. And now turn 7 is also a weak turn. So when you have this mid-game / late-game style of a rotation format, and you have 2 weak turns in a row leading into those turns, your deck's not going to feel very good at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got an interview coming up shortly with SPRAYQUAZA. We'll get to hear his thoughts on things, see what he's been up to since the Contenders Cup.
I'm missing. His interview was one of the I think my favorites. Just he's you know, I played decks, I won, I had a good time, you know.
I had a good time. Yeah, I think I remember watching the footage of SPRAYQUAZA specifically when he faced off against Trickster. And both of them looked like they were having so much fun. Like, there was clips of them just, like, looking at like, seeing plays, just reacting hugely.
If you guys have not seen the meme video that they made of Trickster versus SPRAYQUAZA,
Really?
you guys need to go see this
I
on
don't think
Twitter.
I've seen this.
It's about when Trickster
when
gave
you're
him the
staring
stare
him
down.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into it. SPRAYQUAZA's here with us today. SPRAYQUAZA, my friend, how have you been? We haven't seen you since the Contenders Cup. Tell us how life's been like since.
Hello. It's been great. It's been chill. I haven't had to do much. I've just been not playing too much Shadowverse, doing the event, the chest event, and chilling out.
Perfect.
Nice. Awesome. So tell us about your lineup that you've chosen to bring. In the Contenders Cup, you brought PDK, and you brought PDK again today. Obviously, you don't feel that affected by, I guess, the Galmu adjustments. Why do you feel that PDK works so well in rotation?
It's just really good against a lot of the mid-range decks that are going on right now. And the Galmu nerfs, they are kind of significant, but I feel like the rest of the deck is powerful enough to make up for it.
Okay, and talk to us about Swordcraft, my friend. All right, so how do you feel about Swordcraft right now? Do you think it has a chance with any type of build, or do you think it's just dead in the water right now?
I think Swordcraft does have a chance. The problem comes with the 7-drop slot. There's actually nothing you can play in there. There's actually 0 7-cost cards in the Swordcraft deck choice. So I feel like that turn is actually what's holding back Swordcraft right now.
Do you think Gilnelis could do it? Do you think Gilnelis could be this like awesome 3-of that you can put in Sword that makes it like do something?
I think I'd rather play Weathered Vanguard. You actually want something that makes tokens that leads into your Latham turn.
That's fair.
So that's probably what you want.
Gotcha. Weathered Vanguard.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see it.
We'll see.
Probably not. So tell us about how you've been spending your time, I guess, post Contenders Cup. Have you? How's your training been like? I guess you're playing along with probably Auto Aim as well, one of your space station teammates. How's that been?
For now, like I'm just doing chest events and stuff. Not too much testing. Some take 2. Because I'm mostly just waiting to see if mini expansion is going to shake things up. So I try to play more unlimited take 2 because I know there's less of a chance mini expansion will really change things, and I know mini expansion will definitely change things in rotation. So I'm trying to hold off on practicing too much rotation.
Got it. So taking himself a little break and relaxing, and then building up for the mini expansion. So SPRAYQUAZA, your opponent, ESSIA. All right, how are you feeling about your opponent today? Is it like every other opponent? You're just gonna smash him into the ground. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I mean, ESSIA is a great player, but it's just like playing any other opponent. Like when you played for really long. You've played just about every single great player in this game, and it just becomes part of any other day.
I like it. Part of any other day.
Any other day. I like it. Okay, well, we'll let you focus in, get focused on your match. SPRAYQUAZA, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and good luck.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. SPRAYQUAZA, great guy. Always, like, same thing. Like, last interview, this interview, what have you been doing? Just chilling, you know, relaxing, just kind of hanging out. Everything's good.
Yeah, that's his
great.
attitude that he's got. I mean, I think it's an amazing attitude for a competitor in any game, really, to kind of have.
It is. I mean, when you can face down some of the toughest opponents in the world and just think about it like that, it's just another day in the office, you know what I mean?
That's exactly. There was a great interview with Michael Phelps that I love watching, and he talks about his process. He listens to the same music that he trains with. He does the same routine every single day, and then on competitive, he puts in on competitive days, he puts himself in the same mindset. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to eat food, I'm going to win the race. I'm going to wake up, and he does that in training, and then on the day he wakes up and he wins the race. It's insane, just like how he can actually will himself to victory.
Probably to him, any race is just like any other day because he models them exactly the same.
Yeah, literally. So I mean, yeah, great attitude that SPRAYQUAZA has about competitive strength.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I think there's a balance, right? Some players hyper focused, you know, train. I'm gonna play every game.
That's the best I possibly can.
Best I possibly can. Then you got the other ones who are like, I'm gonna play Shadowverse. I'm just gonna play it like I normally do, and it's great.
Sure.
And there's not really any right or wrong way about it. It's just who you are as a player.
Especially with games like Shadowverse, you have to play so many games.
So many games.
It takes so long to grind up to Grandmaster, and then you start playing competitively, and then you have to love this game, really.
First of all, you can play competitively if you're C rank. You don't have to grind up to Grandmaster.
That's true.
Okay, it definitely helps.
POTWASHER doesn't grind that much, actually. He doesn't play in ranked that much.
He doesn't play. Well, he's starting to play in the Japanese ranking system,
okay.
where you go online, you play Conquest 2 deck, no ban, and you just play against somebody that it queues you up with from the internet site. And he plays a little bit there. I saw him do it at least a day. I'm not sure if he does it a bunch, but it's a cool format to play.
Nice. Okay, so speaking of Tempo Storm, we have ESSIA on the line. ESSIA, my man, what is going on?
Hi guys, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. So, I mean, you recently picked up by Tempo Storm. I mean, how has that transition been now that you're on the team? I guess you're practicing with CRUMSION and POTWASHER a lot?
Yeah. I mean, right now we're, in a relatively calm spot. Plus, we're playing against each other in Crucible, so we don't, share everything. But but no, it's been going well. I don't have the jersey yet, but soon. And yeah, I'm just glad to have joined, especially at that time.
Perfect. So far, since the Contenders Cup, what has been your favorite decks to play right now? Rotation, Unlimited, maybe even Take 2 class. Like, what have you been having a lot of fun playing right now?
Well, Yggdrasil was buffed, so I played a lot of Forest, especially in rotation. But because there's a mini expansion coming, I feel like Unlimited and rotation are going to change a lot potentially. So I've actually been playing a lot of Take 2. I think POTWASHER played a lot of Take 2, so we should have a good match next week, I think.
That's right. Yeah, you'll be going up against POTWASHER. Yeah.
I really just wanted to hear you talk about Forestcraft. That's really why I asked. I was like, is he going to talk about Forestcraft? Has he got any new sweet builds that I can try out? That's what I'm looking forward to.
So yeah, tell us about your Forestcraft list that you've brought. I mean, do you think Yggdrasil dropping down to a 6 cost really made that huge of a difference?
Yeah, it makes a significant difference, and on top of that, other classes got nerfed. So I feel like it's the combination of both that makes Forest way better than it was before. This build in particular is pretty fun to play. I hope I get to show it.
Yeah. There we go, my friend. That's what I wanted to hear.
Cool. So we are going to let you go for now. Get focused in for your match. It's going to be a nice best of 5. Do you have any words for SPRAYQUAZA that you'd like to show out there?
I mean, I hope he's prepared and he does better than CRUMSION.
Ooh, I like that one. A dig on CRUMSION as a teammate. I feel like that's fair ground.
That's fair.
You can dig on your teammate.
Sure.
All right, good luck, ESSIA. Have some fun in your games.
Pretty great. He seems really confident with the mid forest list now.
I mean, it's super fun. So I liked it. As soon as Yggdrasil get dropped down, right, I was like, okay, Essia's got to be one of those players who's going to pick this up, and he did. He's going to be playing some Forest Crafts. With
no
some
Fairy
Yggdrasil
Dragon. No Fairy Dragons, unfortunately.
No Fairy Dragon. That's okay though. We can live without Fairy Dragon for a tournament or,
we'll be
or
fine.
a day.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, he's bringing PDK. He's bringing Arcus Shadow, of course. I mean, Grummery changing to a 7. Arcus Shadow still is very, very strong.
I think Arcus Shadow is now firmly at the top of rotation. It's just a very consistent deck that fills the board. It has 2 different endgame scenarios where you can just play Arcus and then tempo your opponent out with normal plays, or you can play Gilnelis at a certain point and win. I think the only deck that really has a fighting chance against it consistently right now is probably either a very well-drawn Dragon deck or potentially a Havencraft deck that's playing Tenko, just because you can get to a late game where you can remove all the Gilnelises. However, then you have to contest with Arcus, and it still gets really tough. So, but I think Dragon's probably the best against Shadow.
Right, yeah. Arcus Shadow, yeah, like you said, there's just so many win conditions it has. Let's take a look at the deck lists to see exactly what they've brought, what the lineups are going to be. SPRAYQUAZA has Seraph.
Seraph again! Seraph again!
Oh my gosh.
So I actually, again, one of the conversations I had with Aya before this weekend was, do you think, because he loves Seraph Haven, he loves Haven in general, I'm like, do you think Seraph Haven is better than Tenko right now? Because I see it on the ladder all the time. We came to the same conclusion. It still feels a little too slow for the format. Maybe, I mean, especially because you have to get the follower in play first, and then it can't be banished, and it's a lot easier to banish a follower than an amulet type of deal. But outside of that, Arcus Shadow definitely
but Lapis, if it's banished, Statute Seraph will still come into play.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's, well, oh yeah, it's when it leaves play.
When it leaves play, and it says banishment still counts as living play.
Well, never
Transformations
mind.
don't count.
Transformations, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Transformations, okay. In any case, PDK and Arcus Shadow, probably the best 2 decks right now, I would agree. And then really it's just whatever you want to play. There's Forest, there's Blood, there's Haven, there's anything under the sun you can play, because honestly the format's pretty wide open since it's slowed down.
It is very wide open. Let's take a look at Essia's list while we've got the chance here to see exactly his Forest Craft list. He has 2 of Gilnelis and 3 of Luxglaive Bale. I feel like that's an amazing card in Forest Craft. Now it's finally found a really strong footing where you can just throw down a 4/4 ward for 2 cost or 3 cost or whatever.
Or 0 more often than not.
0,
so like the way this deck operates is kind of like the Forest Craft decks we've been seeing before. However, Elf Song is back in. So you play to the board early, you play to the board hard. You play to the mid game to the board hard. You play to late game to the board hard. You never stop filling up the board with this deck. That's the power of it. And now with the Yggdrasil change, you have an on-curve powerful option to just win the game outright with multiple Luxglaives and the Yggdrasil. The Wrath that it puts into your hand, I can't remember the exact name of it, but the one that gives all of your followers Storm, and then you just go nuts. You can OTK with it as well.
Blessing of Wrath.
Blessing of Wrath, yeah, Blessing of Wrath.
Yeah.
So just a lot of sweet options in this deck, and since everything slowed down, the power over time of this deck of just building and building and building boards is just so hard to deal with.
I'm really excited to see the list in a competitive format. It's gonna be nice. Let's take a look at SPRAYQUAZA's Seraph Havencraft list. There's 3 of Lapis, of course 2 of Garuda. Nemesis Purge, Godsworn Alexiel, Aether of the White Wing to get the Lapis into play. It's amazing that Lapis does not have a fanfare effect, and there's so many ways to get the Statute Seraph in play. It's almost guaranteed.
Absolutely, an Angelic Idol as a 1-of. So when you're playing an Aether of the White Wing deck, sometimes you just want to play something at each spot on the curve, so that you can just play your Aether on curve as well. And this 5/5 is, or this 5-drop is a 5/5 ward that can be evoed to attack, but only gets 1/1 in stats. It's probably just there to fill out your curve if you want to play Aether on 6.
Just a little bit. So, again, very formidable deck. Of course, White Fang Temple finding its way into just about every single Havencraft list there is out
Probably the best, outside of Lorraine. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's better between Lorraine and White Fang. White Fang's been consistently good across all formats. So, Lorraine is
but
there
we
too.
see Lorena in Unlimited, but we don't see White Fang. That's good.
Well, depending on the deck.
Yeah, City of Gold's built a little bit different.
Yeah, depending on the deck. City of Gold definitely doesn't need White Fang Temple. It's counterintuitive for that deck. But, yeah, it's hard to say. Any which case, I think we have a sweet matchup on our hands. We've got 2 of the best decks and then 2 comfort picks for each of our players. We'll see if Seraph can get it done in rotation.
And, of course, both players brought Arcus and PDK as well, so, I mean, that's an interesting consideration. They both, obviously, Arcus is very strong, but there's PDK instead of Dark Feast, instead of something else.
That's true. That's true. I mean, honestly speaking, I think Dark Beast Bat is still very good right now.
I think it is still
It's
really,
just
really good,
not
yeah.
as consistent. The reason being is because now that the format's slower, Dark Beast Bat's a little bit slower, you have to put in your third Floros, you have to put in your third Valnarek again. You're playing a slower game, so it's not this you're dead all the time. Like Scorpiuses have kind of been removed so that you can add those cards back in. You can keep your card draw high with Alexandrite Demon and Pure-Hearted Singer.
Yeah.
So it's not the aggressive monster it used to be, but it's still good at that mid-range. I feel like in rotation it's a lot more mid-rangey than it is in Unlimited, just because you don't have a lot of the same effects.
Interesting. Okay, loading into the final match of the day. This is a best of 5 3-deck no ban between Space Station Gaming's SPRAYQUAZA and Tempo Storm's ESSIA.
And again, I don't know if you guys have noticed this trend, America versus France. Turns out all of the Pan America players are from America, all of the European players are from France.
Amazing.
Amazing stuff. So, in any case, starting out with a matchup that I was already talking about actually, where Shadow is playing into a matchup where I think it has a little bit of a rough time. Namely for some of the cards that are in the hand of ESSIA right now, starting with Servant of Disdain, which plays very well against everything in SPRAYQUAZA's hand. Okay, and I guess, okay, so he did just draw into some 2-drops, which is really good. And then also, it looks like Serpent Drake is in hand, which is very good against Shadow, because it's very hard to deal with multiple threats. It's kind of like a Lady Grey you don't have to spend Evos on.
Of course, Belinus in Dragoncraft is now not... it's not so bad because Galmu's effect can only be triggered once, and even that situation, that particular interaction was a pretty, it was, you know, probably not going to happen all that often.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ESSIA coming into a few different options this turn. I think Waters of the Orca feels pretty good here. It's one of the reasons why you do play an early Oracle, so that you can play a, or Dragon Oracle, so that you can play Waters of the Orca on 4. But no, going with Double Servant instead, saying, you know what, if you want to trade with Belinus, you're letting me draw a card, buddy.
That's true, yeah. Belinus is definitely going to draw a card if he pings the Servant for 1. Now turn 3 for SPRAYQUAZA. Just a bunch of 2-drops to throw down.
Yeah, looks like he will trade and offer up that card draw there. Ooh, that's a dirty card to top deck.
Yeah, that's pretty dirty. Especially, yeah, with the Serpent. Oh my gosh.
I like this play from SPRAYQUAZA. I like it a lot. Says, you know what, if you have that random Serpent Drake plus Disdainful Stroke in your hand, or Disdainful Strike, you're not actually going to be able to kill my follower.
Disdainful Rend.
The Rending, that's right. Rending.
It's striking, it's rending.
Strike, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so I still think that's the best play. I still think you're going to go with your Serpent Drake plus, well...
He could go a little bit greedy and go for maybe just a Pure-Hearted Singer. Honestly.
Pure-Hearted Singer is the last card I would play this turn. I think I'd play Waters of the Orca over it. Because I want to get the board nice and beefy before a Cerberus comes down.
Okay, that's true.
Okay, Waters of the Orca it is. And just face. Okay, that Lyria is such a weird play, right? Like, I want to play, you know, 1-3 into this 2-1.
Yeah, sure.
But no, the shield is just a perfect play this turn. I love it. Now double Lady Grey Evo.
Maybe just saving the other one.
Hush, little baby. Don't say a word.
No, I don't mind playing out the other Lady Grey. That's fine.
Fill up the board? Well, I guess you don't need to if you're playing Cerberus next turn. You don't want to fill up the board too much. Playing the fairy seems fine too. You're not going to need the fairy for a very long time. Alright, so let's see what ESSIA does this turn. I think the Rending must be played this turn. Just depends on how he wants to do it. So if you go Rending, do you do it with the Servant so you get some card draw early? Do you play the board with the Serpent Drake? If you do, you only leave yourself with 2 play points left over. Which means you can Evo the Servant and draw a card with it as well.
That's pretty good.
You know what I like? I like playing Serpent Drake, Servant of Disdain, attacking the Waters of the Orca into the Belinus, seeing where it procs, and then end your turn another way.
Interesting. Oh, he's going to go for the ping.
So wants to draw a card specifically. Okay.
And now he can Serpent Drake.
Yeah. So basically the same thing. This just gives him the choice of drawing the card.
I'll be home soon.
I like it. And he's going to Evo to draw another card. Another reason why this card is insane.
So I guess either way, if you played the Serpent Drake before attacking in with his
either
Waters,
way,
he would have had the
same
choice
thing.
to have used Disdainful Rend on the other one that didn't.
So I guess it didn't matter for ordering. Just doing all the things.
Doing all the things.
Yeah, again, one of the reasons why I think this deck is pretty good against Shadow, just because it has options like these. And now he's actually ramped into Prime Dragon Keeper and or Galmu to keep board clearing going. Of course, Cerberus happens. This will Evo over the healthy Serpent Drake. And then get wiped.
Very, very nice. Nice consideration there on the Evolve Cerberus giving the last word effects too. Ooh, okay, it comes into the Disciple for the Galmu. That's really, really nice.
So this might make
But I guess,
Essia
yeah, the
save.
enhance effect, okay.
Yeah, enhance, I mean, Galmu this turn is fine. It will clear board just fine. Prime Dragon Keeper, not amazing this turn. Because you don't know where they're going to hit. I don't know, this is tough. I'm not sure what I would do this turn.
I
think I like Galmu.
I think I like Galmu more. It's just you don't have to use an Evo Orb.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend too many resources in your hand.
And you can get Prime Dragon Keeper down with double waters of the Orca proc next turn, which feels pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's the consideration. You get more value from Prime Dragon Keeper next turn on 8. Oh no, but he's gonna go with it this turn. Okay.
Maybe he just wants the card draw going. And he's playing the waters of the Orca. Interesting. Okay. So it says I don't need value late in the game.
I guess, yeah, and on turn 8, he can still Galmu and the Disciple, I guess, for more board clear.
True.
Okay, so we might have been thinking about contesting a more specific board state next turn for SPRAYQUAZA.
It won't be long now.
Maybe it's to get damage on a potential Gilnelise later, but no, that's still too slow. I'm not sure, actually. I feel the way this played out, not bad. It does give him some card draw this turn, but then his Galmu's not really set up very well. Because it would kill his own board, if anything else.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess he's counting on SPRAYQUAZA clearing the board.
Potentially. You definitely want to get the Prime Dragon Keeper off the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Which you can with Fran's Curse. It's a pretty big resource spent for another pretty big resource, and then SPRAYQUAZA can play Grey Eagle. Okay.
So another consideration would have been to go for a Pure-Hearted Singer, just to get some card draw going, but it looks like SPRAYQUAZA just wants to play to the board. Obviously can't blame him. That's how basically most of this game works, right? Play to the board, trying to get there. But now, there is one benefit to Essia's play. He drew an Azidahaka with a Galmu in his hand, so now he can actually play this Azidahaka on curve next turn after a Galmu play this turn.
That's true. That is true.
So, you know, good play or not, worked out in his favor. There we go. Azidahaka next turn, while being very good, is not the end-all be-all because SPRAYQUAZA is still at 16.
And he has Gilnelise, he has Drain available to him, but doesn't look like there's a reliable way to take out this Galmu.
There is not. I think you just play Gilnelise here and are happy about it. I don't think you can do anything else. If you play anything else, Galmu is just going to run right over it. But this is going to allow 11 damage this turn.
Oh my gosh. And another Galmu off the top. This is looking really, really good for Essia.
That's only 4 damage to the Gilnelise, though, so can't kill the Gilnelise this turn, which I think is perfectly fine. You don't need to.
Sure.
I think it's just Azidahaka face.
I think it is.
I don't see why not. When your opponent gives you an open opportunity to get over the hump, take it. And by the hump, I mean now it is in SPRAYQUAZA's best interest to not wait around anymore.
It is in his interest to win the game.
Yeah, either win the game or keep the board clear every single turn because he is within lethal range of other cards in a Dragon deck. Now, of course, Gilnelise can attack and leech or drain back up to 8 defense. I haven't used that word yet, leech.
Leech.
I like it.
Yeah, we haven't. We haven't really used that. Absolutely. There you go.
He just gave me an eye roll. All right, so heal for 3, get the Gilnelise and the Galmu out of here, but the Azidahaka will remain, which means Essia is 1 top deck away from winning this game. Not quite.
No, I think he still wins. He has Galmu.
Yep,
yeah.
Galmu plus the rending is the 3 extra damage. Now, of course, he needs to dodge the heal in order for it to be the win.
What is still 3 9 2 10? Yeah. Okay, so he needs to dodge the heal. Or no, just 3 damage. Yeah, the damage will go through before.
It does go through before. All right, so ordering matters. Essia wins game 1 with Dragon against Shadow.
Very, 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 very nice. Yeah, PDK was great there. It was a huge target that SPRAYQUAZA had to deal with.
Yep.
And even then after that, there was still the Azidahaka, there was still the Galmu. That was just too much damage for SPRAYQUAZA to do.
Too much damage. And I think the Ozzy Dahaka being top deck into another Galmew,
That was
a
huge,
lot of players out there will be like, that's, you know, Dragon will win when it gets its Ozzy Dahakas and Galmews.
Yeah, I will.
But you still need to play the early game appropriately so that you get damage in, you still make your opponent use their resources. Like if you saw that game, SPRAYQUAZA was down to the fact that he needed to play a Gilnelis on 7 and do nothing against an active Galmew. That's a pretty rough turn.
That's a pretty rough turn. It's it's difficult for any player to deal with.
All right, so getting into game 2 here. Come on, Essia, bring your Forest Craft deck. Let's see it. All right, there we go.
Game 2, that's appropriate. Of course, SPRAYQUAZA is going to stick with the Shadowcraft. Wants to try to get a win there.
Our story awaits.
So we'll see here. So Forest Craft is one of those decks that feels very awkward to play against, in my opinion, when you're playing Shadow, because it feels like at a certain point you just have to keep clearing board, and sometimes you just can't. You know what I mean? Because your followers are so tiny. Forest Craft is generating a bunch of tiny followers, but like you just like
But a little more cheaply.
yeah, how do you keep pace? It's tough. Now, of course, this is a nice hand to do it with, though. SPRAYQUAZA, double Skull Ring, and a Bellness. Pretty good against Forest Craft. And Essia with a very slow hand. You can see the smile on his face here. I want to start calling that the CRUMSION smile, because he happens to get hands like this a lot, where he top decks into hands where he can't play, like we saw in the Take 2 match earlier.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, of course, Sylvan Justice right here.
I can't call it the CRUMSION laugh.
We can't.
Everybody laughs like that when they can't play their spells. I remember when Zero Fine did it at the World Circuit event. He got second in. He and his opponent both couldn't play hands from their Portal Craft hand.
Yeah, I remember that.
And just smiles all over the place. The crowd was going nuts in favor of them drawing cards they couldn't play.
That's amazing. They're like, come on, draw another card. Yeah, that's great.
It was a good time. All right, so Essia coming into more of his early game / card generation cards, so good to play back to the board here. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So instead of going face against Forest, it just feels like you need to keep the board clean.
It's
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's what it feels like, and it's so hard because they just put more to the board than you do all the time. And it looks like Elf Song has been top decked here for Essia, so we'll be able to fill up the board on a turn.
I thought we had seen the last of Elf Song.
No,
man.
come on, man. Elf Song too good.
Elf Song's great, dude.
Elf Song too
We
good.
know it. We know it.
He did not use it that turn, though, which is interesting. So saving it for next turn, possibly. After all these 1/1s are gone. I felt like maybe against the 1/1s it's at its best, right? Because then you get some free trades going on.
Sure, yeah.
Poll results are in. Jeez!
Oh, my God.
This is the most lopsided of all.
Yeah, we saw Pan America in the lead for the first 2 polls, about 60%, 85% for the first player. Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. You
That's
guys
insane.
are behind Essia. You know what? I can't blame you. Essia is one of the most, premier players out there, but so is SPRAYQUAZA.
So is SPRAYQUAZA, man. Yeah,
What
seriously.
the heck? Well, we're going to see. You know what? SPRAYQUAZA, shut them all up, all right?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, prove it.
Prove it.
Prove them wrong.
That's right. Let's go. That's a huge number. 85%?
That's
Wow.
an amazing approval rating.
That is an amazing approval rating. All right, so the Grimoire action has been happening, so card draw out there, full board out there. I feel
Terra?
Is
Terra's pretty good.
Is he ever going to... Well, you know what? Maybe, and Estia plays this deck more than most people, maybe he's saving that Elf Song, and I have seen a lot of Forest Craft players do this. You save it for after all of the Evos are gone, so that you can build up a big board that can't be dealt with late in the game. You don't really use it as an early game threat, unless you're against a control deck or something that you need to, go early damage against.
Yeah, totally.
So we'll see here. Doesn't also have any of his handy-dandy wards that get cheaper.
Oh, he's going for a rain play. Okay, nice.
Okay, so Elf Song this turn.
Elf Song, rain turns, man. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but they
been a
still
while.
feel pretty good.
Still feel really, really great.
Can he get the lucky proc? Yes, he can.
Nice.
Yes, he can. So damage shield when rain comes out if you played at least 2 other spells this turn.
3 other spells. Or no, yeah, 2 other cards along with him.
Along with him, yeah. And then you get to both pump and give a damage shield to another follower. And give it rush. But SPRAYQUAZA says, I can answer that board, no problem. And I've got Gilnelis and backup Gilnelis in hand.
And Lyria, which is essentially backup Gilnelis.
Well, I believe they only played 2 in deck.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
There's two, yeah.
Some fun.
So, not necessary for the Lyria to be in hand, but having your Gilnelises and access to them very good against any matchup.
Ooh, that was a great draw there.
Yep, Insect Lord, pretty sweet.
Can make sure that the fairy can't trade in. Possibly gonna have the Matera live for another turn, but he's thinking about it.
100% you play Insect Lord here.
Yeah. Could mean a possible 5 damage to face.
Yeah, possible 5 damage to face. No buffs from any of the 7 drops that Shadowcraft plays.
Yep.
And you have 2 threats now for your own guild.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh boy.
Right on curve. By the way, I do this all the time also.
Top deck
Where
Arcus.
you just, how do I win this game? Ah, yes, I remember. Yes, you just play Arcus on 7.
Yeah. Before that, it was like, oh man, I don't have a good win. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, yep.
There we go.
There it is. That's good. So Arcus, if you guys don't know what it does, 7 drops 6/6. When it comes into play, gives your leader the following effect. Whenever you play a follower 3 cost or less, they blow up and give you the last word effects, and then that number equal to its cost of Stormy 1/1 ghosts come into play.
Yeah, that's right.
And they get banished at the end of turn. So basically just a nice way to push damage and get effects out of all these last word followers that the decks play. Oh, never mind. There are 3 Gilnalises in this list.
Nice.
And used to good effect here. So as you saw, ghosts come into play because the original cost of Lyria is 2. You get 2 ghosts, Gilnalise pumps, and then the ghosts go away at the end of the turn. Alright, so it looks like a Wrath perhaps coming into play, setting up a possible big damage turn coming soon. With Legendary Fighter, I never even thought about that. That's pretty sweet. Legendary Fighter getting Storm?
It's pretty great.
I never even thought about that.
Especially if it can attack twice. Yeah, that's really good.
Is there a lethal next turn? I'm not even going to count for it. This is more fun. I just want to see
This
what
is
happens
exciting.
next
Yeah,
turn.
ooh.
Legendary Fighter with Blessing of Wrath. With an Evo point in store.
That's pretty good.
Because there is no incentive really for SPRAYQUAZA to attack with his Gilnalise outside of playing another one this turn just so he can attack into the opposing Gilnalise. I guess incentive would be to go back to 20 against a deck that just put a Blessing of Wrath into their hand.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But he's not going to play a Gilnalise, which makes me think he's not going to play... Or he's not going to attack with his own Gilnalise. Yeah, I'm probably just going to hold it.
Why are you letting me live?
Or maybe he will attack.
I'm coming for you.
Okay.
He's got it. Yeah, he's got to get rid of the Ether Cell, which he can with Fran's Curse.
Yeah, there's a lot of drain going on for Essia right now.
Yeah.
And technically he can deal with all of it. Just depends on how he wants to do it.
Or if he wants to keep ambush on his own Gilnalise.
Feel like killing yet?
Okay, so he pushed. Okay, no, he's going to clear the board maybe.
I'm coming.
Like, this is why Arcus is good, folks. Draw a bunch of cards, do a bunch of things. He's going to attack with this as well. Very weird play this turn. Doesn't clear the Yggdrasil.
I guess he's forcing Essie to clear his Gilnalise, otherwise the draws will come through.
It's true. This does set up a lethal with just Gilnalise out of hand, though. You got a 3-drop plus Gilnalise, which is 9 damage immediately.
Yeah.
But he left a drain in play. That's the confusing part.
And an Evo point. Yeah, with
and
an
Evo point.
Yeah.
Very interesting play. Not sure what SPRAYQUAZA was thinking there. We'll see. So Essia not immediately jumping, you know, into a lethal here, so maybe there is no lethal. Which wouldn't surprise me. It's not like they just happen.
Yeah, I mean...
The Boil freshly drawn still costs 7. So another Yggdrasil coming down. So basically just wants to heal as much as possible this turn. Makes sense. You can give this Yggdrasil rush.
And then, yeah, that can clear off the Gilnalise and get a lot more healing in.
I think even you Evo this. You Evo this, you keep both of your drains in play. You heal for a total of 7, go back to 15. No Gilnalise in play means there's no lethal possibility. I mean, technically there...
Would there be no...
There could be...
There could be lethal in hand.
If you had very specifically 2-drop Fairy, double dump follower, and then a Grimory or another Gilnalise.
Or if you had 1-drop Fairy Gilnalise.
That 1-drop, I guess, would work as well.
Devour your innocence.
Of course, none of that's in hand. The Grimory, okay.
Gremory, yeah. The important part here would be the fairy. He does not have the fairy. Does have 9 damage to push though, so maybe he's just playing this game where he's just gonna race his opponent.
Got it.
But with all this, okay, getting rid of the drain.
Yeah, I think
okay.
he can't.
He's had enough.
Get the drain out of here.
And the Gilnelise is firmly installed in play now, so this is the turn for Essia. Needs to do something big here. The unfortunate aspect is that these boils came into hand way too late. They cost too much. Didn't get a chance to get played early.
And of course, when the ghosts go away, Gilnelise has ambush. There's nothing else to destroy your own followers.
Yeah, that's why it's really hard to play against Shadow once Arcus comes down. Basically, you have nothing to actually target anymore. Ambush followers / ghosts are very hard to deal with over time. And they all get storm damage in one way or the other.
One way or the other, man. Unless there's ward, which Bale is...
He is a ward.
He is a ward, but it's a really expensive ward if you don't have the followers to be destroyed, which is what we were just talking about.
And if this Gilnelise lives, we will get to see the option that it lets both players draw 5 cards. And if SPRAYQUAZA comes into a fairy, the game's pretty much over. He has Gremory in hand, which might mean the game's already over depending on how Essia plays. So we'll see. Yggdrasil has nothing to drain into this turn. Unless he wants to give it Storm and then evolve it. Which you can do with the Blessing. So that would heal for 4, put him to 14. Okay, he's not going down that path. He's playing a very heavy costed boil here.
Wow. Still, it might be worth it. I mean, that ward is... The 4 defense ward is going to be so valuable.
No pre-evo, though. I kind of would have liked to see a pre-evo just because Fran can deal with the 4/4 ward just straight up.
Okay, SPRAYQUAZA came into a fairy. Is that lethal? I think it is, yeah.
The answer is always yes.
Yes.
If they have fairy plus Gremory or Gilnelise in hand, it is always lethal. And I don't think it matters. Unless there's like multiple huge wards in play, I don't think it matters. Because the followers that fairy puts into play or that are already in play get to attack 3 times after fairy has been played. So that's going to be the game. SPRAYQUAZA going to even things up against this Forestcraft deck. Let's move on.
Essia's got to be feeling, wow, that was a really strong Shadowcraft game. Maybe I want to go over to my Shadowcraft list.
Yeah, you know what? Shadowcraft feeling pretty good right now. Yeah. However, SPRAYQUAZA has the matchup. If he feels like that will be the switch, he plays his Dragon deck. We can see kind of like a rematch or a rehash of what happened in the first game.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, loading into game 3. It's 1-1 even. This is still anybody's match here. And the points are tied up between regions. It's 1-1.
That's right. So
the
winner of this
match, yeah.
Tip the scales.
Tip the scales with 1 point.
And yeah, just like I was saying, this matchup happens, so now SPRAYQUAZA has a slight edge. Again, I believe this deck does play well against the Shadowcraft deck. Doesn't mulligan anything, likes everything. You know what? Servant of Disdain against Shadow and Serpent Drake, when you get them in like your opening hand, especially when you're going first, you just feel so good.
Super good.
It forces your opponent to have a 2/2 in their hand. If they don't, you almost just win the game outright. It's kind of like having a Servant of Usurpation early. I love it. But now that there are Disciples in hand, the Servant doesn't need to be played on 2. You can just play it and draw cards with Disciple on 3.
After your lean, getting the Whisper in hand, that's pretty great. Yeah, so SPRAYQUAZA's got a great turn 3 here.
Could also really just decide to go with Roy if he wants to play a slower game as well. But yeah, I mean, when you have this combo,
you got the card draws in hand. You get the card draws.
So you get the card draw from the Disciple and the Servant here when they combo together.
Pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. All right, and really just a good curve in general from SPRAYQUAZA. Looking at over at Essia's hand, also has a lot of the cards he needs going second, right? Had a 2/2 on 2, has a Fran for 3, has an Orthrus for 4. Don't know if it'll get, well, yeah, with the Fran, you'll get up to 3 Shadows if you want to play it on 4. Right. And then you have the Cerberus for 5. So basically everything that both players need in hand. This will be a true test of which deck is really better.
Why are you
Absolutely. So which card do you target with Fran's Curse? Do you target the Servant or Feline?
That's a tough one. I think you have to get rid of the 1/3, otherwise it's just going to stick and play for too long. And then you value trade, but you don't feel too good about it.
Leaving up another 2 damage.
Yep. There's no healing in hand outside of Gilnelise either for Essia right now, so leaving damage in play kind of stinks. No way is he trading. Come on. Come on.
Man, no.
What are you doing?
Can't do that.
Never
Yeah,
do
you
that.
Roy Disciple.
Easy.
Maybe Waters with the Orca.
I
get a
wouldn't even
big
mind
board
Roy
before
plus Rending this turn. Roy plus Rending feels decent. Waters the Orca also feels decent. Just press your advantage.
Get a wider board.
Now you can trade if you're Essia, play Orthrus, and clear the entire board. Very good turn for him. It stinks because you don't really want to use Orthrus on non-evoed followers, but to clear the board, pretty good.
Absolutely turn 4. I guess Orthus could be active if he trades in here.
Yeah, he could go with Skull Ring. Like, there's an idea that you can play Skull Ring Evo and play Gremory, and then you can draw a card this turn, which isn't overly bad.
Yeah.
I don't hate that play, but I kind of like Orthus. I like clearing the entire board against Dragon.
We're howling now.
Does he Evo, though?
Probably.
If he's playing Orthrus, it feels like he's going to Evo, but you never know. You never know what they're thinking.
We never know with these players, man. Yeah, they could be thinking anything. And he's certainly considering it.
By now, they are leagues better than both of us.
Yes, I think they've surpassed that goal quite some time ago.
Yep. Now this does allow Essia's follower to be taken down by a Rending, though, which sets up really nice for SPRAYQUAZA.
Sure.
But there's a lot of things that you can be doing this turn if you're SPRAYQUAZA. I kind of like, now that Oracle has been drawn, ramp Rending feels very good.
That's very strong play there.
The problem with that is there's not really anything to ramp into yet, so maybe you hold the Oracle for card draw. And then you just play another
Yeah,
Ayala.
you've got card draw next turn. Maybe go for the Disciple here.
Yeah, I kind of just like Ayala. Throw another 2/2 out there. You're never gonna Evo her.
Yeah, after this.
Yeah, you don't need to. And then Cerberus, of course, being the 5-drop of choice, almost always.
Giving it some thought, though, I feel like, yes, Cerberus is certainly the play here.
Well, with Andriolphus drawn and no other card draw in hand, maybe Andriolphus Evo with a Skull Ring this turn, leaving the 4/3 Ayala in play. However, again, against Dragon, leaving big damage numbers in play when your opponent could be Evoing into Azidahaka.
Yeah, when your opponent just ramped last turn, has been getting decent card draw. I don't know. That seems really risky.
It is a risk. Essia, I mean, he's got to make the choice, right? Does he try to, come back to the board, or does he try to get some card draw to try to win into a late game? That's always the gamble with Dragon, because they always have so many, or so few cards in their hand, rather. So it's like, is the Azidahaka there? If it's not, I'm fine.
Then I want to do this, and I'm
good.
But you kind of have to play like there's an Azidahaka.
Yeah, is it triple Galmew Azidahaka?
True, yeah.
Is it triple Azidahaka Galmew? Could it be just the Nutter Butters? But Essia is going to go with the board clear option. I like it.
So many threatening threats.
Yes.
Dragon grab. Trying to think of a better word, but there's not.
There's the Azidahaka, though.
Yeah, there it is.
So now, actually, we've got, okay. All right, looking good here. We got ramp into
like,
card draw, into ramp, into card draw. Azidahaka will be played one way or the other next turn.
Are we done?
Can get another spell here. Wow, that was a lot of ramp.
That was a lot of ramp, and not only that, a lot of filtering to try to get to another Azidahaka to help clear this game.
2 of the Dragon Oracles were played after turn 7, getting that draw. It's nice.
I think 2 Dragon Oracles was a little bit too ambitious this turn. I think that not clearing any of these or not playing more to the board might hurt him in the long run. He's now going to start slipping behind to the board. And if you just play an Azidahaka, into a full board, then you're basically just saying raise.
That turn became possible because Gremory was adjusted up to 7. If it was turn 6, I don't think SPRAYQUAZA could have afforded to do that.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But I think he's going to set up the same exact way this turn, and it's going to be much harder for SPRAYQUAZA to deal with it unless he goes for a board cleared turn next turn. But then why did he double ramp to get to 10?
Yeah, that's...
So kind of an awkward play, but we'll see what
he might have... Yeah, just kind of jumped the gun a little bit there. Got a little greedy. Realized, oh, I can get Azidahaka on 10. Do I want to?
Did I need to?
Now my opponent has a full board, probably filling up for Gremory.
Now, of course, the board is full. So again, this is always a consideration, and obviously not every deck can take advantage of this. But if your opponent locks their board into their Gilnelise and or Gremory turn, sometimes you just don't play anything that they can run into. That way you get an extra turn. It's like a time walk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you literally walk through their next turn.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I don't think this was one of those situations.
No. I think actually the Serpent Drake was a pretty good play here.
It was not, yeah.
Or a pretty good draw here to play back to the board in a good way. Now the question is, he didn't leave any play points over. So maybe he's only going to play the 3-drop version of it with the Disciple, just to get back to the board here. It's like
Let's teach you how powerful.
he can also Evo it to gain. No, it doesn't gain anything extra. Never mind.
It's still damaged.
Yeah, it's not Servant of Disdain. It's not that amazing.
Easy there, Bob.
You know, sometimes I just
Hold
want
your
cards to be a
horses.
little bit better than they are. All right. Sometimes that is the case, but now.
Yeah, the text could say each time this card is damaged and is not destroyed.
Yeah, for each. No, I don't think there's any way to word it to actually make it pop out more.
Not really.
I don't think so, because like for each damage, it's only at next to.
Each time this card is damaged, summon.
Make it immediately.
Summon a Serpent Drake at the end of your turn.
But then you would get
Summon
it even
an extra.
when it dies.
Summon an extra Serpent Drake at the end of your turn for each.
It's good the way it is.
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah, it's fine.
Card's great. Moving on.
All
Next
right.
topic.
So Gilnelis fine. Gremory fine.
Yeah, they're all fine.
They're all fine.
Which one is best?
Yeah, I don't know.
He has Fran as well.
Yeah.
Helps him deal with the board a little bit more.
That's
this
true.
is a threatening board.
That's true. Fran can get full value this turn as well, so it looks like that will be the play. I think because of the extra Serpent Drake and why it's good against this deck is it forces you to play back to your opponent's board as opposed to just excelling damage to your opponent's face with the Gilnelis or Gremory. Clear everything you can. Leave the healthy one back to finish it off. I like it. I love it when you get a 0-cost 5/4 rush. You know, there's a feeling when you get to play really big stuff for really cheap.
Feels super good.
It feels super good.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, Prime Dragon Keeper off the top now. Doesn't do anything with the hand, though.
No, nothing. It still just throws it down.
Yeah. Still no Ozzy Dahaka. Double ramped. Still has not played an Ozzy Dahaka. And I think that's very telling of maybe just one turn of a flub up. It's not huge, and it might not even be the wrong play.
Ooh.
But it feels like he could have done a little bit something better there. And then Arcus drawn.
Essie's giving it one back to SPRAYQUAZA, man.
That's
hey,
right.
You got your Arcus. Well, guess what?
I got mine. Now, of course, the PDK will live because the Arcus can't run into this Prime Dragon Keeper. That
yeah,
little,
the Ghost can't run into it either.
That's right. The little aura means cannot be attacked. And I think it's now Ozzy Dahaka time.
I think it's race time. This is get the damage in first. 9 play points.
This is a tricky situation, though.
This
How do you?
is tricky.
If you don't deal with the Arcus, you're just losing the race.
Yeah.
But there's no efficient way to deal with it other than running your Ozzy Dahaka into it, which means you're also losing the race.
Yeah, you can't trade the 1/3. You can't trade the PDK in with White Frost.
I think
don't have an 8 cost.
I think Ozzy Dahaka face, and then you rending the 2/2. I think that's the play. If you trade, you lose. If you don't trade, you probably lose.
Wow.
But I think this way
Wise
loses.
words,
I
my
think
friend.
this way loses a little harder.
It does.
Because you're actually not getting any damage in face. You're losing one of your Ozzy Dahakas, and you can't really do anything to end this game. Like, how is he going to deal 18 damage with only an Ozzy Dahaka in his hand now? Against an active Arcus.
Yep. This is dark days for Dragoncraft.
The little, you know, rock in a hard place is where you're in at this position.
Okay. Turn 9. There's a fairy. Definitely want to save that for next turn.
Yep. Gilnelis seems like an easy play here after playing a 2-drop.
I can play the Belinus or the Lady Grey.
You leave the Prime Dragon Keeper, but you know your opponent doesn't have anything to work with it. They've only got 2 cards. You already know one of them is a Whisper.
There's no other way to deal with the Prime Dragon Keeper anyway.
Nope. So just don't worry about it. Okay, same thing. Lady Grey instead of Belinus. I guess Belinus doesn't get any active effect this turn, so it's no reason. All right, here we go. SPRAYQUAZA, I don't even know what you can top deck in this situation without getting any damage done.
Maybe
Waters of the Orca?
Waters of the Orca, yeah, that's probably the one thing SPRAYQUAZA needs.
That's it.
Something to just get a lot of bodies on board, but even then it's turn 10 next turn.
You can pre-evo this Gilnelis to outplay that, though.
Oh.
Wait, no, you can't. It'll
7
2.
summon
It deals 8 damage. Never mind. Yeah, so you can't outplay the damage.
Oh,
I like it though because this does outplay everything but Waters of the Orca.
Yep. Get wrecked. Come on, man.
There we go.
Care to
Oh
touch?
my gosh.
All right.
Care to touch?
All right. You see Essia. He's like, dude,
Care to touch?
SPRAYQUAZA. This is why you can't vote against SPRAYQUAZA, okay? All right.
Wow.
What a guy. Look at the smile on his face. We've got a lot of smiles today with our top decks. Even our opponents that have been like seeing this happen.
Oh, wait. I think that's let's see, 1 drop, Fairy, 7 Grimmery, 9. Oh.
Hold on.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Let's see. So you get 2 followers. They can attack 3 times.
Yeah, that's it. That's 9 damage each on those ghosts.
9 damage each. But then how do you get? I mean, he's doing it quick.
Oh, he's doing it. Yeah, this is lethal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Plus Grimmery.
Plus Grimmery. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That mischievous ghost, man.
Sometimes, you know, all you need is a little pickup.
We just saw top deck into top deck.
Wow.
For that win. The one thing that SPRAYQUAZA needed, he drew. The one thing that ESSIA needed, he drew to close out that game, and now ESSIA goes up 2-1 in the series.
Maybe it was, no, it wasn't still possible. Oh, come on, BM. You got to BM here, ESSIA. He's thinking about BMing. This is even more BM. This is meta BM.
Oh,
this is
man.
thinking about BMing while you're BMing.
Well earned. Well earned.
Ah, good times.
Good times. Arcus Shadowcraft.
Look at that little grin. It's not even a full grin that ESSIA has. That's a sinister grin that ESSIA has.
It
on
was
his
a grin
face
of
right
like,
now.
this has happened before, and now I get to.
That was
relive
the
this.
I know you just top decked that Waters of the Orca.
Yeah.
BM.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, going into
Good
our next
stuff.
game, match point for ESSIA, up 2-1, has his Forestcraft deck to fall back on. We'll see if it can draw a little better than last time. We'll see if SPRAYQUAZA can knock it out twice.
I feel like SPRAYQUAZA can, man. I mean, it's PDK into Forestcraft, which is a bit of Uncharted, or excuse me,
No.
he's starting with Havencraft. Interesting.
So here we go. We saw it in Unlimited, where
Yeah, we
Forestcraft, the Bane, I will always call it the Bane of Havencraft, take it over. I don't know if this matchup is much different. We'll see. I think ESSIA has a better draw now. Actually has active plays in the early turns. Has a 1-drop, not a 2-drop just yet. But SPRAYQUAZA has some banish and some early drops of his own. So, pretty good from both sides here.
Not bad. Yes, he doesn't have a 2-drop still, so big consideration there, I feel like. But still, I mean, SPRAYQUAZA's got the Blackened Scripture. He's got ways to affect the board in these early turns.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a lot of it's a lot of singing going on, man. Not a
ESSIA
lot
throws
of
the
playing.
hands up. You know what, ESSIA, I wouldn't complain too much. When your hand's looking pretty bad, Pure-Hearted Singers is probably the bad card you want them to be filled up with.
It's true. Could be 3 Gilnalese.
It could be 3 Gilnalese. Yeah, that's right. And a Luck Swing.
Yeah.
Just can't do anything with my hand here. All right, so I think Jeweled Priest is pretty good play here. I think also Unicorn Knight's pretty good here.
Ooh, yeah.
But this way you can get the, well, I guess either way you can get the Amulet going next turn. You know what, now thinking about it, I kind of like the Unicorn Knight better. Just because it can play defense a little bit better over the course of the next few turns. Okay, so early boil this turn.
This game, yeah.
Yeah,
not
this
bad.
game,
Not
yeah.
bad.
So easy stuff. This way he can actually get those down to lower costed, get Yggdrasil combos going, get full board fill combos going. However, his hand is very slow. I will say over the last 2 games we've seen him play, it has been one of the slower Forestcraft.
Very slow, I'd say.
I do think he missed an opportunity to Elf Song early, though, to kind of help him in the first game that we saw
He
him
definitely
play.
used it probably maybe just like 1 turn too late.
Yeah.
Didn't push for enough damage.
All right, so Water Fairy coming down into play, filling up the board again as much as he can. Answer back here? Not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, Unicorn Knight.
Yeah, just Unicorn Knight, get a spear.
We see players get the Unicorn. Well, that was a tinker.
Yeah, when you're playing like control mirrors, you don't really need the removal option. And the Evo wants to clear the board. Again, when you're playing against Forest, that is like the ultimate feeling. Just clear the board. I need to clear the board.
Yep.
Never
Yep.
board. No.
No
Can't
board,
have it.
no.
That's right. No Elf Song action going on. No getting too out of hand that I can't clear your board anymore.
Board, no boarding.
Yeah, exactly. No board.
You can't board anymore.
Don't board.
Board.
Yeah.
Just had to get one more in there.
All right, so I think we might see something like Fairy Tia, just so that he can start generating some bigger followers. He might just go Fairy Fairy.
Yeah, honestly, that's not bad. Maybe Legendary Fighter?
Maybe Legendary Fighter? I don't know if it's in there for a value card or if it's in there for a combo card.
Combo,
yeah. I don't know how he plays it in his deck.
Yeah, we haven't really seen him play it that much at all today.
All right, so Fairy Fairy wants to get more use out of the Tias, wants to get, you know, all of the value. Basically just trying to set up for the end game now, right? So he has a fighter, he has, or he's going to have a low-costed Boil. He's got Yggdrasil, so he's got all of the pieces and a Gilnelis. Like, I don't know what else you would need. I don't know what else you would need here.
Did you like it?
Maybe? Yeah. No, you can't. Don't
There's
evoke the
another
Angel.
Boil.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this. The 5 for the 5/5 ward coming down, the one of right now. Probably in the best matchup that he could have it on curve here. Very hard to deal with. Is there any way to get a big Tia follower out as well as a Rain so you can go? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no other.
I mean, he's got Matera. Matera can deal with his board just fine.
Yeah, just fine. Yeah, Matera.
He's pretty good. I mean, maybe consider playing. No, he's got to be saving Legendary Fighter for something. I need to see this all-out combo that he's building towards.
I'll finish you off now.
Because he definitely plays this deck differently than I've seen a lot of Forestcraft players. Like, most of the time, Forestcraft players are playing, like, more aggressive style. Like, they just keep filling up the board over and over and over again. ESSIA kind of plays this, like, I'm going to hold back some things. I'm going to play a certain way. So he's got some kind of a combo lined up for himself. I want to see it. Got to get something out of the hand. Fairy Whisperer doesn't work here. Looks like Keel will be the play. Just because it gets out of his hand. Alright, and then if you've played 2 spells, then you get a 4/4 that costs 3. If you've played at least 4 other spells, only costs 1. So that's another thing that you can do with Blessing of Wrath to have these Storm Followers come out and just bowl your opponent over.
Double White Fang is very threatening, but I mean that Matera and full board, like we were saying.
This is it. This is a deck that can take advantage off of not clearing off a board against a Gilnelis deck. I'm gonna heal for 2 and set up these White Fang temples to keep me healing, not give you a chance to play the Gilnelis, and then I'm gonna worry about the board next turn with my Jean after I've got my healing going. Very good execution here.
Pretty good. Yeah, no, there's nothing else ESSIA can really do. I mean, he's going to overdraw 1 next turn, no matter what.
Can't play anything here. I mean, I guess you could play the Fairy Circle. Doesn't do anything. It does get a 1/1 Fairy into his hand, so that next turn he can maybe save a play point if that's a consideration.
Yeah, maybe. But he wants the extra spell.
I shall guide you to glory.
Easy, Jean.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, just had to do that.
Easy, Jean. All right.
These dragons are going to come out fast, man.
They are going to come out fast. Absolutely.
We're going to see him next turn.
We see another Jean active for next turn if he wants it. We see, of course, Seraph active next turn if he wants it. But now ESSIA is going to set up the endgame play here. So we'll see we'll see what it does. I mean, we've got to see it, right? He's got all the right cards.
He's got the combo, man. We're gonna get there. We don't gotta rush.
He's got all the right cards, man. I just want to see it.
We don't gotta rush these things. It was a nice. Oh no, he's not gonna. Oh, he could have rained.
No Evo. Save an Evo for damage.
Yeah, okay.
Save an Evo for damage.
All right, all right. Don't expect me to be happy about it.
ESSIA's laughing right now. What are you laughing about right now, ESSIA? What are you laughing about?
Something's brewing in that head.
Something's brewing. Maybe he's laughing because he's gonna BM again next turn. He's laughing so hard. He's like, I know I have to win, and I'm gonna BM him so hard. He can hear me. He's smirking right now.
We can hope.
He's doing his BM smirk right now. I know he can hear me.
It's just the timer.
He can't hear me.
No, he can't hear us. Players can't hear us. That would be very unfortunate.
Yeah, that would
this
be bad.
entire year of Shadowverse.
We just didn't know.
Players could hear this whole time. You're talking about their hands.
Oh, man. No wonder things have been weird.
Integrity ruined.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what you do this turn if you're SPRAYQUAZA. I mean, obviously, you just want to get these 6/6s proccing so that you can win. I mean, I don't think the Lapis here is any good. Ether works. You get a nice ward here.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect,
That's not
actually.
bad. Yeah, that's really good.
They'll show your malice.
You don't obviously get the effect of Alexiel, but not that important against this deck anyway. They're going to be dealing damage in multiples of 4. Get the healing.
Gosh, get the dragons.
Look at this.
Holy.
Forget combo forest. Forget combo forest.
When you have 2 white Fang temples, it turns out.
You got combo Haven going on right now. All right, Essia's got something. All right, so the 0 cost boils are down.
Yep.
Legendary fighter down. Eve down. Blessings of Wrath.
We got 6 and then 8, 10.
Okay. So can attack twice. You Eva over.
Wait, that's 12. No, that's it. Yeah.
8 plus 6. That's a lot of damage. So much damage.
Wow.
Essia with the deserving nod there. He's like, yes, that's how this game is played.
The very respectful nod.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And Essia, yes, will 3-1 SPRAYQUAZA in glorious fashion here.
Pretty good. Wow. Forestcraft is pretty good.
Forestcraft has a nice little OTK combo, even through a big ward.
And all of
still
that
won
came through from Yggdrasil just dropping from 7 cost to 6 cost.
Yeah, it just you
Pretty
can
much
play it
did.
earlier. You
Yeah.
have a lot more flexibility with
You can
it.
stay alive until you have the OTK, and of course Bale is great as
just
well with that.
Better in multiples as well. Like you can play one on 6 and 7 and just like have a curve of drain while you build up whatever
But
you want in
how?
your hand.
I mean, like the stipulations of that combo that Essia just pulled off. He had to have the Bales. He had to have the Eves. I mean,
I kept calling them boils, didn't I?
Boils, Bales.
Are they bales?
It's Bales. Yeah. It's
Okay.
B-A-Y-L-E. Yeah. B-A-Y-L-E.
Boil sounds disgusting too. Why was I using that word? Words, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
But yeah,
Words.
you have to have a lot of things going on. You have
Sure.
to have the Yggdrasil, like you said. The Bales have to be reduced cost so much.
So you have to have a lot of things to pull off specific combos, but there's a lot of different combos you can do. You don't need to have the legendary fighter combo. You can just push for a lot of damage if you already have the damage
That
in.
helps though. That helps.
It helps
I
a little
mean,
bit,
that was 6 extra damage.
Yeah.
I mean, just attacking twice, being able to pump it. I mean, that's a lot of storm damage coming in. So yeah, it is used as a combo piece in his deck. Obviously, if you need it, it can be a removal piece or something else. But I think you like saving.
Sure. Yeah. So
What a day!
What a day, man. What a day. And so, I mean, these are the players that are going to be representing Pan America and Europe, going to be representing the West in the World Grand Prix. And there's a lot of great competitors that they're going to be going up against. And I mean, that's kind of the point of this Crucible, is preparing these players to go up against players like Kocha, the defending champion.
I had a chance to see this in person last year with Kocha beating out Akamar Red, and man, what a match that was.
An
Kocha
insane game,
is
yeah.
insane. He's coming back because he won last year. Caster, of course, also a great player. We've seen him in quite a bit of rages.
Yeah, he was the first player to qualify from Korea, and of course Mizuse and Karage-san as well qualified through the Chronogenesis Grand Finals at Rage.
Everybody should know who Mizuse is now outside of Kocha, just because, again, he is in so much. He's always there. He's always winning games. He's also a very aggressive player, which I like. He's one of the players that can take aggro lineups and just crush everyone, which we don't see very often anymore. And, of course, like you said, Kasago and Salt. Just great players, all champions in their own right, or runners-up to big events, and, of course, Japanese events can get massive.
Yeah, Kasago is a 2-time Rage finalist. Salt it was in the 3 consecutive Rage tournaments. I mean, like, just the level of talent that's going to be at the World Grand Prix in general across the whole world. It's insane.
I mean, we've got our best going in to meet a huge pool of the world's best, of course. And I would almost say that the Japanese players are a little bit more tested in general, just because they have a lot more tournaments going on, that kind of thing. They have a lot more big fields that they have to get through. However, last year, we took 6 guys over there, and we got 2nd and 3rd.
We got 2nd and 3rd.
We're coming for first, baby,
yeah,
okay?
We're coming for blood, of course. And the results of the day, I mean, Europe goes home with 2 points. Pan America goes home with 1 point. So, I mean, not a bad day for Europe. Not a bad day at all.
Not a bad day. Yes, and HISHIRO proving everybody wrong, beating out CRUMSION, right? I mean, again, and MENSOU, of course, we saw the disconnect, but we're not sure how that match would have ended, but who knows? But yeah, Europe, really strong players right now. Pan America, really strong players. Again, like I said, I think these are 6 players that I'm really happy that are representing us going over to Japan at the end of the year. And, you know, we get to see 2 more weeks of just outstanding play in different formats from all these players.
Absolutely. It's going to be really exciting. Next broadcast, of course, week 2 of the Crucible is going to be coming at you next Saturday, 10 a.m., November 17th. It's going to be great. We're going to switch it, so there's going to be different matchups. I mean, the players are going to switch around in this round robin. They're going to be playing different game modes as well, different formats.
That's right. So the players who played Take 2 Unlimited rotation will all be switching, and so will their opponents.
Yep. So make sure you tune in for that. For us at the Crucible, that's going to be it. We'll see you next week.